صعب نرفع الصورة. خلاص ما فيش مشكلة.
خلص اوكي
نبلش.
اوكي كرامة.
ايه
Are we live?
No, كرامة. You're muted كرامة.
دقيقة بس let me set up the stream.
اوكي.
All good. We're live.
It says recording. Does it say recording? Did you start recording or no? Usually it says recording started. Oh, perfect. Yeah, خليكوا هيك ميسي. ممتاز هيك.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Another Sunday while we are all witnessing the status of the world being destroyed by the imperialist United States of America and its Zionist handlers, the Epstein ruling class. Today we have a great list of contributors and speakers from all over the world, from Cuba to Gaza to Uzbekistan to South Africa. It is the whole world against the enemy of humanity, which is the ruling class that is intent on destroying all of us just to make more money and profit from more wars, from more killing, and to satisfy their psychopathic egos. We have a mad man in the White House. He is threatening to destroy the power plants in the whole country of Iran, which is illegal under every international law. It is an attack on humanity. It is an attack on the people. It is not a military target. He is threatening them that within 48 hours, he will destroy it if they do not submit or offer their submission to the emperors of this century. He is saying that after he destroyed Iran, after he erased Iran, now his enemy and the enemy of the United States are the Democrats. We have a psychopath in the White House, an American president who declares that more than half or about half of the people are enemies of the state, is a man who is a danger to all of us. He already lost legitimacy. He came with a platform, and he was bought with a platform of no wars and to focus more on the American people and the American interest and American economy. And so far, he betrayed every promise he came up with. So he lost his legitimacy. He lost the reason why he was elected to be a president. And I really think the people have the right to impeach him and impeach his party. He's a danger, an imminent danger to the United States and to the planet. Our planet is on the verge of a nuclear war and an escalation that endangers all of us. And that is all being committed by a psychopath, by a crazy person in the White House and his handlers in Israel and Zionist Epstein ruling class. We, the people, need to stand up. The people of Cuba have been suffering for 75 years of sanctions. hundreds, if not millions, of lives in Cuba have been lost due to these sanctions. The latest research in the Lancet says that there are about 500,000 people all over the world are dying every year for the last 40 years due to unilateral American sanctions. The people of Gaza continue to endure a genocide committed by the American bombs, American jets, and American money. It is time that we, the people, unite and stand up and put an end to all of this. So thank you for joining us while we all talk, while we all say the truth and expose these dangers that this ruling class is imposing on all of us. We are going to start with our colleagues in Cuba. We are proud that DAG took part of this delegation to Cuba from people all over the world in protest of the sanctions imposed on this country that is actually putting the lives of people in danger, cutting off their energy supply, their oil, their infrastructure, their power plants. They had about 10 hours of complete blackout, over 10 million people, only because our administration chooses to suffocate the people of Cuba. Because their connection and their internet is not stable, we're going to start with them, hopefully. Okay, I think we lost them, but they will come back soon. It's we have Mesa and John from DAG, and they are joined there by an orthopedic resident who is a doctor from Gaza who's been in Cuba for a few years. He's doing training there as an orthopedic surgeon to share with us the updates on the situation, what's going on in Cuba, and the impacts of these sanctions on that country and on those people. Okay, they're not here. Again, part of the problem is this, that they don't have reliable internet connection. And I think last night they spent the whole night in complete darkness. Hopefully they will be able to join us soon. We also have Dr. Abdul Wahab Abu Warda from Gaza Al Shifa Hospital, who's been helping us along with his team. A few doctors trying to do surgeries on patients who are on long waiting lists at the hospitals. Since the medical evacuations are not allowed, we are trying our best to try to help as many people there if we can do their surgery at the smaller private hospitals instead of losing their lives while being on the waiting list. So we're going to start with Dr. Abdul Wahab. Give him a few minutes while we have our colleagues from Cuba come back and get restore their connection. Fadal Abdul Wahab.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Today we will talk about the last update about our project for elective cases for like closure colostomies, thyroid problem, cancer cases. This week we will back again to start with another 10 cases, inshallah, at Al Sahaba Hospital, supported by DAG. Since yesterday we start to choose cases. We have large number of cases. Inshallah, we will choose 10 cases for next 2 weeks, inshallah. Really, last update
Dr. Abdul
about
Wahab, Dr. Abdul Wahab, can you tell me on what basis do you choose the cases?
Our priority for cancer cases. After that, we go to lifestyle cases like closure colostomy. So the priority here for our cancer cases. Now we have around 20,000 referral for outside Gaza, and no one can be traveled. Just I think yesterday 10 cases and today 8 cases. So we have large number of cases. Also, the bombing since 2 days back at the North Gaza and South Gaza. Before around 2 hours, they bombed a car and large number of wounded and murdered. And yesterday we received wounded at Al Shifa Hospital. So some of emergency cases back again to our hospital.
Okay, so you already chose the 10 cases for this coming week, for 10
Yeah,
surgeries to
inshallah.
be done. So try to help some of the people on these waiting lists because since the war with Iran started, did not allow any medical evacuations out. I think they only started yesterday and they are allowing only 10 or 15 cases go out every day, which means it's going to take years for these people to go out.
Yes.
And we know that people with cancer, if you wait on their surgery for a year or two, that is a death sentence, because by that time the cancer would have spread everywhere and it will be too late to do anything. So, inshallah, with your team, we really appreciate your work, appreciate your colleagues, trying to do as much as we can. We know the task is huge. There's no way we can do all these cases timely or in the right time. But I think any person, any life we can help is a life that can be saved. And we know from the last 2 years that many people have lost their lives waiting on evacuation and waiting on these lists. So please support us, support Doctors Against Genocide with this project. Each case costs about $1,500, so you can save someone's life or give them at least a chance at life with $1,500. They did 10 cases already. Alhamdulillah, all the outcomes are good. All the patients recovered, all the patients were discharged. No major or significant complications. They are all grateful for this opportunity. And inshallah, we'll continue to help as many people as we can. So thank you, Abdul Wahab. Do you have anything else to share now, or inshallah, maybe next
Thank
week
you.
you will have?
Inshallah, this week we will start with cases and we will talk about next week, inshallah.
Maybe next week you can share some of the videos or some of the cases that you did. Great. Thank
inshallah.
you.
Thank
كل
you.
عام وانتم بخير.
وانت بخير دكتور، الله يبارك فيك.
سلم على كل الأهل or your colleagues.
يوم
إن شاء الله عيد مبارك عليكم. And إن شاء الله next Eid we will celebrate the next Eid with the ruling class of the world gone and with humanity taking over and making
inshallah.
peace in this world without Trump, without Netanyahu, without the Epstein class, and without any one of them. Hopefully, Maribeth will be the president of the United States. And we want to congratulate Maribeth. She matched her residency yesterday. So this is really great news. Well earned. You earned it, Maribeth. You worked hard even during the genocide. You are graduating from medical school. And really big congratulations on your match. And the best part of it is your school or your program, the hospital you're going to is called Nazareth. Nazareth is where everything began. So Maribeth is gonna take us there. تفضلي Maribeth.
Oh, shukran. I am both happy and excited. I'm really excited about this program because it is a lot of atypical people, international grads, some who took a wandering path through American schools to get there. So it's going to be like your best chance at a genuine diversity of experiences and perspectives. In what is a community hospital, ostensibly, where we don't have to homogenize to fit into the American healthcare system and those who are traditionally in charge of it. I'm excited. Even the program director, she is, to me, really visionary in her approach. And the fact that it is called Nazareth, yeah, I mean, it was meant to be, right?
Yes, thank you. Proud of you, Maribeth. And we cannot forget to mention our people in Lebanon and Iran. We are in full solidarity with the people of Lebanon and Iran who have been under this brutal, indiscriminate, illegal, criminal carpet bombing for the last 3 weeks. They are victims of this illegal war. They were not a threat to anyone. They did not start this war. It was started by the criminal in the White House and the criminal in Tel Aviv. The real imminent threat to the world peace and world order is Israel and the United States, no one else. Again, we are in full solidarity with the people of Lebanon and the people of Iran. Inshallah, you will prevail soon, and those psychopaths will know the limit of their power, and inshallah, them and their systems will learn a lesson that there are limits to your power, and inshallah, they will pay the price at the election polls and many other places. All the criminals who started this illegal war, starting by Trump and his regime, and Netanyahu and his regime, should be held accountable at courts, and they should be locked in. This is illegal, this is criminal, this is against any law. It's against even the American law. No president can declare a war without taking permission from his Congress and from his people. And we all know that the majority of the American people are against this war or any war unless it's a war of defense. That's why they elected this president. The threats against these people, against their civilian infrastructure, are getting worse day by day. It needs all of us, please, wherever we are, to speak up against this, to show our petition that this is illegal. We don't stand with it. They will all pay the price. And the American people who did not sign up for this war are already started to feel the repercussions of this at the gas stations and their economy. And I think the regular average American who is working day and night trying to make ends meet is going to be harder and harder on them. And instead of having their hard-earned tax money be used to help their communities and help their infrastructure in the United States, the psychopaths are using this money to destroy other people's lives and other people's children. We know many hospitals in Lebanon and in Iran have been attacked in the last 3 weeks. Children in their schools, mothers, fathers, civilians, civilian infrastructure. This is not who we are as human beings, and as proud American, I think this is a treason that they are committing against the interest of the United States. And again, they are proving once again that they are the real axis of evil. They are the real terrorists. Now let's go to our colleagues from Gaza. Again, they have problems with connection. We have our colleague, engineer Rami Gabon, and his co-worker Ali. They are the one who are running DAG Gaza Clinic in cooperation with the visually disabled community in Gaza. They have been doing great work. This clinic is in the heart of Gaza, and they have been working there or running it for about 2 months now. Engineer Rami is here with us to share the updates of his work. What did they do so far? What's their initial assessment and what's their recommendation going forward? Rami, are you with us?
شكرا دكتور نضال صحيح.
Can you turn on the camera or it's hard for you?
I will make a presentation just to share something.
Okay, no problem.
Does it appear? Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. As you know, let's start from here. Yeah. As you know that the health situation in Gaza right now is extremely critical. Only around 42% of health service facilities or points are still functioning, and even those are mostly partial. Hospitals also are struggling with very low medical supplies. As you know that more than 75% of people face serious food insecurity and sanitation conditions, and these are raising the risk of disease outbreaks. Overall, this system is overwhelmed due to the ongoing conflict or ongoing war in Gaza. Actually, the clinic, as Dr. Nadal mentioned, that was established at the end of January in one of the most crowded areas of the Gaza Strip, which is called Shata area, filled with displaced person, IDPs, internal displaced persons. During February, we served more than 7,030 beneficiaries. It's crucial to understand the context of our patient population. Around 92% of these were internally displaced persons, IDPs. Furthermore, 62% of all our patients were children under the age of 18, highlighting the extreme vulnerability of the youngest members of this community. We successfully added to this to manage around 61 referral cases to higher level of facilities for specialized care that we couldn't able to provide the required service on our clinic. This slide breaks down the types of services we provide during February of our 735 total visits. As you say, the majority 454 cases were pediatric, counting for 62% of our workload. We had also delivered 266 general medicine consultations, including the ophthalmology cases, added to 14 internal medicine cases and 1 minor surgery case that we were able to manage. This is more specific details regarding the cases diagnosis we served during February, the month of February. Taking closer look at who we serve during February, the demographics are striking. On the left, as you see, the age distribution clearly shows the heavy burden on children, which aligns with our main focus. On the right, the gender distribution shows a fairly balanced split between male and female patients, indicating that the need for care is universal across our target population. Work mechanism, outreach mobile teams, support of the fixed clinic activities. We think in the clinic that the mobile outreach model is essential to ensure we reach marginalized and displaced populations who cannot physically access the fixed facility due to the mobility barriers, distance, or security constraints. By bringing healthcare directly into the camps, we bridge the gap between vulnerable communities and essential medical services to ensure that no patient is left without care regardless of where they are sheltering. To handle the high patient load efficiently, we operate 2 complementary systems. The first one, AI-powered clinical interface, and it is managed directly by the physician. This system uses voice-enabled data entry. As the physician consults the patient, the AI listens and transcribes the information, automatically filling it into the correct structure fields. The doctor then reviews and edits as needed to ensure 100% clinical accuracy. This saves precious time and allows our medical team to focus on what matters most. The patient is in front of them. The second one, online Excel sheet system. This is another online system managed by our data entry at the clinic. This system handles comprehensive documentation of all cases and crucially provides real-time tracking of our inventory for medicines and medical consumables. It's how we know exactly what we have, what we are running low on, and what we need to procure. We think these 2 systems are fully integrated. Challenges. Our team faced a lot of operational challenges this month and adapted quickly. For example, we faced severe medication shortages, as you know. It's a wide problem here in Gaza. Local market shortages and high prices made it extremely difficult to stock essential medicines. We had to prioritize our procurement, focusing on securing medications for the most needed or most vulnerable patients. On the other hand, as you know, the clinic operates in the context of an unstable and violated security situation across Gaza. Just hour ago today, a vehicle was stuck in a bombing, result in more than 4 fatalities and numerous injuries. Such incidents create constantly shifting landscape where access to healthcare becomes even more precarious. For our team, this means navigating heightened risk to reach the clinic, managing sudden surges in trauma-related cases, and facing the reality that patients may be unable to move safe for care. Despite these dangers and these challenges, our commitment to maintaining uninterrupted medical services remains unwavering as the need for healthcare becomes most critical precisely and with security conditions deteriorate. Let's finish with a video presenting one of the disability person who are benefiting from our clinic. Just share the video. Just a second.
يوسف فرج عبد يوسف الغرابة. أنا من أشخاص ذوي الإعاقة، بعاني ضعف في النظر، عندي مشاكل في القرنية. طبعا بيتي راح بالكامل. أنا حاليا نازحة برضك وقاعدة في خيمة أنا وأهلي. طبعا بنعاني معاناة فيها الخيمة، لا في مأوى ولا دفء ولا أكل ولا شرب ولا حياة. كثير معاناة الخيم لذوي الإعاقة طبعا من كل حاجة. طبعا الوضع صعب جدا. أنا الوالد متوفى، طبعا إحنا عايشين في خيمة. إحنا يعني من ذوي الإعاقة كلياتنا. أنا من ذوي الإعاقة، أخويا الكبير كمان كفيف كلي. بعاني من مشاكل كمان صحية، ضغط وقلب. بعدين طبعا واجهنا كتير مشاكل طبعا في صحتنا. أنا وأخويا من القطرات ما انوجدتش طول الحرب. واجهنا كتير مشاكل في جفاف للعين. أنا واجهت مشاكل انجرحت عيني، القرنية اتأثرت عندي بسبب إنه وجود قلة القطرات. بعديها إنه وأنا بالذات يعني أنا بدي كتير أشياء اللي تتوفر لي. يعني أنا بدرس كمان ومعانية كتير أشياء، وبدي قطرات وبدي حياة. واجه صعوبات بصراحة، لأنه من الصعب لما يتواجد القطرات. ففي مؤسسة منتدى غزة لذوي الإعاقة لقيت إنه فيها علاجات متوفرة مجانية.
Yeah, that's everything from my side. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Rami. Thank you and Ali and the whole team for all this work. And just a reminder, none of this that you saw is due to a natural disaster. None of this is because the people of Gaza cannot provide for themselves. You saw her blind or almost blind, her family is blind in a tent, and despite all of this, she's still insisting on learning and going to school and educating herself. These are all man-made catastrophes and disasters, intentional crimes committed by the United States and Israel against humanity. to remind everyone the greatest threat to humanity is the regime of the United States of America and Israel. And as mentioned in one of the comments, they are spreading this genocide now into Lebanon and Iran. And we, the people, trying our best to help and support these communities that are directly impacted by the genocide, although each one of us, all of us in the world are at a threat and a danger, and they are coming for all of us. That's why the sooner we unite, the sooner we do action or take action, the sooner we can rid our humanity of those criminal ruling classes. Rami, thank you. Anyone has any questions for Rami, please?
I just have a comment, Nidal.
Yes.
Thank you, Rami. As always, your presentations are thorough, professional, and informative, and we really appreciate working with you. Thank you so much. And this is just an example of some of the work that Rami and Ali are doing in Gaza. They do not only help serve patients with visual disability, but they also provide very extensive data analysis reports that are informing how we see medicine under conditions of genocide. So I want to thank them, and hopefully we will be able to publish some of their studies and some of their reports. And we're very fortunate to continue to work with them every day, really.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Shukran, ya
Thank
Rami.
you. Thank you, Rami. I'm usually not good at presentation. I never made a good presentation, but if you ever see me having a good presentation, it's gonna be from Rami. So I'm gonna have Rami, inshallah, help me make a presentation. And this is just a proof that the people of Gaza are not helpless. They are not a burden on humanity. They are the most skilled. They can help humanity. And Rami and his team and many people from Gaza, you'll see the resident from Cuba now who will join us soon. They can teach the world. They can contribute to the world. The only one who's a burden on humanity, the only one who's threatening and killing and destroying humanity are the ruling class in Israel, the Zionist ruling class in Israel, and their puppets in the United States. The country of Iran, the culture of Iran is more than 5,000 year old. That is like more than 20 times before the United States even existed, before they committed the genocide against the natives. Who are you, Donald Trump, to say I raised Iran? You never existed. I mean, you were not even there when Iran and its people and the Middle East started the culture, the science, started humanity, the religions, everything started there. So you are in no position, in no charge to claim anything. You are just a rogue, psychopathic president who is a danger to the world. So thank you, Rami, again, and to speak on the situation in Lebanon. We are honored to have
Nidal, if I may
Rami.
just
Yes, تفضلي.
really quick. So people are asking, what is the name of the organization of Rami and Ali? They are working with us. So if you are interested in supporting them, I have put the clinic. We support the clinic, and we support all the work that they're doing. And we also help them with, actually, they are helping us.
They are helping us. So this is a
Reality.
joint, yeah.
But we're just in a supportive role, and they lead all the efforts in Gaza. So please help them by donating to the link that I just posted. Hello, Lara.
Yeah, so this is a joint project between DAG and between visually impaired community in Gaza,
Gaza Forum for Visually Impaired Persons.
the
Yeah,
Gaza Forum for the visually disabled,
impaired person.
Gaza Forum for the visually
Gaza.
disabled, and this is a joint project between DAG and them. They are doing all the work. They are teaching us. We are only providing them with some funds, And actually, they have many more projects coming up. We know that summer is about to start in Gaza, and summer is usually, unfortunately, is going to come with a whole new set of illnesses because of the lack of sanitation, because people are living in crowded places. There's going to be a spread of a lot of skin diseases, a lot of communicable diseases, and GI illnesses. And Rami and his team are putting a plan to try to respond to this expected situation and document it and do actually just be ready to help the people and document that and do a research on this. So please support us so we can support Rami and his team more, the Gaza Forum for the Visually Disabled, and also support us with the surgery project. With $1,500, you can save one person's life. Imagine anyone here in the United States having cancer that needs surgery as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will spread, it will metastasize. By offering them this opportunity to have their surgery instead of being on the waiting list for months or even years, we are saving a life. And again, the people in Gaza are skilled. They have all the capacities to do it. They have all the skills to do it. They just need our support. And we really appreciate and we are really grateful to our supporters and donors because they are the ones who are allowing us to help the impacted communities there. Karama, I mean, the best one to talk about Lebanon is Lara. I'm really happy that she's here, but please introduce her.
لارا أشهر من علم.
Yes, exactly. But she's too sophisticated for me to
Let me just find her profile.
بلاها it's all good.
لا no.
نحن مع أهل هون.
Yes, exactly. Yes, please come every week.
You have a lot of accomplishments. So Lara is a doctor in psychology. She's a clinical psychologist, scholar, and researcher. And her work is focused on psychoanalysis, decolonial and feminist methodologies, liberation struggles in the global South, and psychic dimensions of resistance. At one point, Lara, are you still a research fellow in the University of South Africa?
I am, yes.
Institute for Social and Health Sciences. And she's also the host of the very intriguing and very engaging podcast, Psychic Militancy. This is only a short bio for Lara, but you will meet her and you will understand.
حبيبتي thank you يعطيكم العافية رامي يعطيكم ألف عافية يا رب الله يحميكم thank you
one thing that I want to say about Lara is very interconnected to the global South struggles, but she's also a Lebanese scholar and a Lebanese citizen, and we are horrified about what is happening in Lebanon, and we want to show solidarity with you, Lara, and the people of Lebanon, and we look forward to updates, ways to help, ways to support, وإن شاء الله الغمة تروح.
Thank you so much for having me and for Doctors Against Genocide for doing the hard work every single week. It's a pleasure and honor. I've been in spaces with both Dr. Karama and Dr. Nidal and the leadership team in general. I had the good luck of being at their conference in September as well. So I've been carrying that with me, and I just appreciate you inviting people in to talk about the work. Yes, I'm a Lebanese Arab, and I say it like that because our liberation is connected to each other. What's happening in Lebanon is no different than what's happening in Palestine. And I think the attempts to disconnect our countries, we see the dangers of that, particularly what's happening in Iran right now, and the sort of mainstreaming of a narrative that somehow Iran is the intruder on our region rather than the settler colonial state that's overlaid over top of Palestine from the river to the sea is Palestine. And there's a Zionist settler colonial entity over top of that. The same thing is for Lebanon. Lebanon is a sovereign nation. the South is not the only part that is being attacked. I think this is something to keep in mind anytime we talk about Lebanon, whether it's the mental health impact or anything having to do with Lebanon. There are ways in which a colonial narrative about what is happening kind of sequesters the South, or you hear people talking about the suburbs of Beirut. It's Beirut, and the people are Lebanese people, and the Lebanese people are Lebanese Arabs that are connected to a larger struggle for self-determination, against settler colonialism, and certainly against Zionist settler colonialism that is supported to the teeth by American imperialism. And I think I cannot talk about anything that's happening in Lebanon psychologically without fronting that. And I think Dr. Nidal, I'm picking up where he left off, is that the central piece for us, so that we don't fall into the trap of both fetishizing people or sort of just seeing people that are suffering right now as mere victims. We always have to front the fact that this is happening because of the hubris of the colonizer and the imperialist, right? The arrogance of them to think that somehow our people will forget their histories, their long histories of struggle, will forget their borders, will forget their maps, will forget the fact that we are a connected people across the region. And I think more and more actually what we are seeing is that the more the violence and the aggression of imperialism and Zionism increases, the more folks understand with clarity, with purpose, who our enemies actually are. And if we were going to take psychic suffering seriously, we have to constantly be looking at the structural pieces that cause psychic suffering at the highest level. The debilitating project, if we're thinking about whether it's psychological or physical or the combination of both, if we're taking psychic suffering seriously, we of course also understand the physical instantiations of that. The debilitating project across the region, but certainly in Lebanon and Palestine, is that of settler colonialism, supremacy, and imperialism. So to sort of put this in context about what's happening right now, we know there's been an increased violent inflection in Lebanon. And I'm saying it like that because I think that many people sort of oftentimes will talk about a ceasefire. We know that ceasefire was a joke, just as we know that in Gaza, there has not been a serious ceasefire. Again, if Zionism and its imperialist backers have anything to do with it, the narrative is just as important, and how we say things is just as important. We need to be clear on the fact that there has not been a ceasefire. I want to just give you a little bit of data to sort of locate the details of what is happening right now in Lebanon, particularly in the realm of healthcare, is that following the 2024 ceasefire, and many people might know this, but I think it's important for us to repeat this so that the narrative of the colonizer and the oppressor is not the narrative that seeps into our mind, and that we accidentally even sometimes repeat those narrative or those talking points rather than locate ourselves within the geography and from the ground up. So following the 2024 so-called ceasefire, the state now known as Israel has violated that agreement with Lebanon part only. I'm talking about Lebanon only 10,000 times. This is according to reports from UNIFIL. There's over 7,500 airspace violations and nearly 2,500 ground violations. So we're not just talking about, this includes, by the way, daily strikes since the starting of the ceasefire. We cannot talk about anything related to mental health or health if we're not talking about what it means for a population and for a country to have violation of its sovereignty over 10,000 times during a so-called ceasefire, and what it means for people to have to live under a condition where they are being asked to bend reality in the context of a mainstream narrative and a global narrative that says there's a ceasefire happening. If you all have wondered why Lebanon doesn't get so much play, why we don't see much information coming out from Lebanon, there is an entire mainstream blockade on information coming out. Any news from the ground is heavily censored. But this is to keep the coherence of a global US empire and Zionist narrative around a so-called ceasefire. But in the meantime, more than 10,000 violations have happened. There has been the Lebanese officials. This is not even quote unquote what we hear Hezbollah supported. This is the Lebanese government which is a traitorous government that is also hand in hand, just like the PA is hand in hand with the United States empire, reported over 2,000 distinct breaches within just the first 3 months of 2025. We're not even in March 2026, March 2nd, 2026, when this latest increase in violence started. So that's what we have to locate it in, that there has not been a ceasefire in Lebanon, and any of the horrors that we are seeing is because there's been a continuation of the project of elimination and expansionism of the Zionist entity and empire helping in that. It has been very clear, both from right-wing Zionist politicians to so-called left-wing or moderates, that have said the project of Greater Israel is one that they are committed to. That includes the incursions into Lebanese sovereignty, the theft of land in the south, the continuous attempts to claim land grab, use forever chemicals. We know for a fact that they're using chemicals on the ground that will seep into the water table. Lebanon has an actual very sophisticated water table that I think a lot of folks miss. I think that's the case, of course, Palestine, Urdun, Lebanon have a water table that people rely on for freshwater sources, including fresh
Springs.
Water
Water
springs.
springs.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's coming in Arabic, not, and so that people will fill up water. They're meant to be poisoned. So particularly, of course, the South is getting the most hit by these forever chemicals, but this is the larger project. When we talk about airspace violations and incursions, I want folks to think about the psychic impact of the sound barrier being broken every single day. So even if there is not bombings happening, that there are Israeli jets and Air Force in the sky breaking the sound barrier, which sounds like a bomb. For people who have not experienced being in a space where people break sound barriers, I grew up with that every single day, breaking of a sound barrier. But those on the ground know the difference between a bomb and breaking the sound barrier, but it is a form of psychological warfare to make sure that people on the ground understand that they are constantly being surveilled and that somebody else owns their airspace. This might seem like a regular process, but when we're talking about sovereign nations, we are talking about airspace that should be protected, and that technically other quote unquote sovereign nations respect the airspace of another country. We understand that the Zionist state does not play by the rules of any so-called international law, but this is really important to put a fine print on it, is that when you are violating airspace, you are also engaging in larger warfare that includes psychological warfare. It also means drones constantly. So even in the summer when I was there, again, so-called ceasefire, all the things that you should think about, there are constant drones happening. I know our siblings in Gaza know what this feels like. This is straight out of the psychological warfare manuals, to have sort of audio warfare that folks have to listen to constant sound. We know this is also used in torture. We also know that it is used when people are incarcerated, that sound becomes a centerpiece of disorienting people, of keeping them not be able to rest properly. So think about, even just when you think about it in that way, the after effects psychologically of people living under those conditions. And of course, when you have drones, we now live in an era where drones are also heavily armed. So you never know what the drone is doing, what its purpose is, when it's going to hit. But more than that, it's also about surveillance. We know that drones are constantly taking photos. They're tracking people's movement. So all of this fits into both psychological warfare, but also the psychic effects of this entire machinery of settler colonialism supported by imperialism. If we want to move now to the latest instantiation of this war and aggression against Lebanon, hand in hand in what's happening with Gaza, because of course we know this, they before the war on Iran started, they bombed Lebanon first, and they of course then closed the borders, quote unquote, to Gaza and didn't let anything else in. So this is a larger project, working in tandem together to destabilize our region and fulfill the supremacist project of an expansionist project of Zionism. But since the war began on March 2nd, the state now known as Israel has struck at least 128 medical facilities in Lebanon and ambulances across South Lebanon. They've killed 40 healthcare workers and wounded 107, and this is according to the Lebanese Ministry of Health. We know, just like in Gaza, which was the testing ground for all of this, for impunity of targeting healthcare workers, this is something that Dr. Ghassan Abu Sitta has called a sort of a way in which you ensure that people die. If you target healthcare workers, this is a faster way to ensure that everybody else will die. So it's a multiplier effect in the most easiest way. It's the most direct line to make sure people die, because if you're killing the people who caretake for them psychologically, physically, you are ensuring that everybody else will also die. So these attacks are direct. We know they are purposeful. We've heard from journalists on the ground that oftentimes the healthcare workers have been sitting in hospitals or sitting in clinics. They're not even in the field, so to speak, even though we know, even if they are in the field, they are healthcare workers and they should be protected by international law. I'm saying that not because I believe that international law is at play here. I think it's really important for us to understand that the ways that empire and Zionist aggression works is to subvert all these systems that we have been reared to think protect the most vulnerable among us. We know that they are mobilized in service, as Dr. Nidal was saying, of a ruling class, and this is part of it. But it's important to say that even under those fake laws, that healthcare workers should be protected. As of March 2026, we are still in March, folks. We are only in the 22nd day of March. As of this month, only in 22 days, 5 hospitals and 49 health centers are out of operation in Lebanon, and this significantly limits access to care during a surge in casualties. We know there's a surge in casualties. So, for example, in one single incident, again, the testing ground was Gaza for this in terms of upping the ante of what is acceptable in terms of quote unquote warfare by the Zionist entity supported by imperialism. In one single incident, an airstrike in southern Lebanon, it killed 12 medical staff, including doctors and nurses at a health center, right? The point is, both in terms of targeting healthcare workers who take care of people, so there's a ripple effect of how folks can access care and no longer access care, but also the point is to break people down psychologically and to make people turn against their own, right? The stated purpose is to have people in Lebanon particularly mobilize sectarianism and turn against the resistance and start to point at the resistance as though their suffering would disappear if the resistance were not fighting against an occupier. This has largely, thankfully, not worked. By and large, the Lebanese people understand and know that who the aggressor is. They understand who is the entity that has displaced them. I have a couple more points and then I'll end there because I don't want to take more time, but just to put it in context in terms of what I mean by turning people against each other, between 1 and 1.2 million people have been forcibly displaced in Lebanon, and this is not just from the south. This is 18% of the entire population of Lebanon, and over 130,000 people in 1 week. So when you hear evacuation orders, one of the things we know for sure is that there are evacuation orders in the quote-unquote suburbs of Beirut. When you look at the map that the Zionist entity sort of released, it's the entirety of Beirut, and more than that, just to increase the psychological warfare, the day that they released those flyers saying evacuate, they bombed every exit point up to the mountains, which would be where people would sort of flee or forcibly become refugees. They not only bombed those places, but they bombed hotels there to ensure that people did not have a place to go. One of the things we also know that they are doing, just like they did in the height of the war, in the previous iteration of the war, is they are sending text messages to families in the mountains who are taking in refugees and saying, if you allow refugees, and when we're talking about refugees, these are primarily Shia, and this is what I mean about mobilizing sectarianism and anti-Shia racism as a central node of this. They are asking people and saying, text messaging them, and this is a Zionist entity, text messaging people in Lebanon and saying, if you allow shelter for these people, we will bomb your home. This is nowhere near the south. This is nowhere near quote unquote Hezbollah strongholds. This is nowhere near anything that it is meant to dismember an entire community. It is meant to make Lebanon become further dismembered. It is meant to make people afraid to offer refuge. These are the psychological impacts that we are really seeing. This is apart from the folks we are seeing living in the streets in tents. There are massive storms happening in Lebanon right now. There's flooding. There's a lot of rain that's coming, more than we have seen in previous years during this time. And people are having to weather all of that because many folks do not have shelter. In fact, there's 130,000 people that are across maybe 12 shelters. So you can imagine there's not much space that's left for them. Now, I want to add on the note of resistance, because this is really important. Yesterday, I had a sort of urgent live stream on my podcast with two people from Beirut who are reporting to us about what is happening. People are coming together to help each other. People are committed to their life and life making. People understand who the source of their suffering is. People are in support of resistance, and it's the only valid resistance against the occupying power. And I think that the attempts of empire and Zionism to disconnect us and dislocate us from the heart of our struggle and from ensuring that a reconfiguration of the region happens without struggle is just a failed attempt. And I really want people to hear that and hear that fully. And that is not us disavowing the suffering, but that is us centering the struggle and dignity of people on the ground, just like in Gaza, who continue to fight every single day and who refuse to disappear. I have sent a link. I think Dr. Karama put it in, and that is a mutual aid attempt. Any help that you can give directly to people on the ground. These are comrades that I trust and I can vouch for, that are buying mattresses, hygiene kits, doing everything directly. Please give what you can and support them. It's called the Tansiqiyya Sha'biyya fi Lebanon. So it's a popular sort of organizing movement to make sure that forcibly displaced people have the help that they need. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much, Lara. This is so sobering, and just hearing it from you makes it so real, and it sounds so much like Gaza. It's like a replay. The tactics, it's ethnic cleansing, and it's a genocide. Like, these are genocidal acts that
Absolutely.
make the conditions unsuitable for life.
Absolutely. And purposefully so. And just to remember that in 2006, the Zionist entity created something called the Dahi doctrine, which they expanded it in Gaza, and now they're back to it in Lebanon. Dahi, for folks who are on here, are what are called the southern, the suburbs of Beirut. And they expanded that exponentially in Gaza, and now they're turning it back around. But you're right.
Can you tell us what the doctrine is? What is it?
It's basically leveling everything in sight, like you are saying, to expressly further along ethnic cleansing. But what's really important about the Dahi, the Dahi is one of the most heavily and densely populated places in Beirut area, which is why it is so similar, like you're saying, to Gaza, right? So you have this sort of...
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is about completely leveling everything. It is about indicating or fronting as though you are hitting quote unquote militant strongholds, but it is entirely densely populated civilian area, and there is no separation between the two. And that becomes the guise under which you further your ethnic cleansing project, and then you have an excuse about why you are doing and how you're doing. And that's why I'm saying that under the realm of international law, of course, we understand that this happens, but it is not applicable when you use the specter of terrorism and the terrorist, and that is a U.S. imperial creation, to be able to further this and understand. But there is an actual name for it. Dahi doctrine was imported into Gaza, and now once again it is being used all across Lebanon.
So just just to expand on this Dahi doctrine, which is the complete leveling of civilian neighborhoods, killing everything, destroying everything. And this is coming from a country that does not have the right to exist, that it was built on genocide and on the Nakba, which is another Dahi doctrine on a massive scale. The creation of this illegal entity has been the source of mayhem, the source of killing, the source of wars and disasters for the last 75 years. That's why it is illegal. It's like a foreign body there. Any country, any nation that its existence depends on constant killing, constant wars, is a country that is not worth existing. When they say evacuation orders, just giving them a name does not make it legal for people who are originally from Germany, from Russia, from Ukraine to come to our land and issue evacuation orders against natives in Palestine, native people in Lebanon, does not make it legal. Their existence there is the source of all evil. Anything that comes from them is illegal. It's against any basic human decency or rules, and of course against all international laws. I know the international law is not being applied because unfortunately the world is controlled by the major powers that are benefiting from this, but it took the world a whole World War II and a Holocaust to come up with the international law. And we are not about to give this up because humanity paid a heavy price to get them. If anything, we need to make them stronger and more applicable and apply to everyone. No one is above the law. No one should be above the law, including Trump, including Netanyahu, including Israel. Israel has no legal right to exist. And everything that it's committing under any pretense of normality is illegal. For those in Germany who continue to support Israel, those who committed the genocide and the Holocaust against them, if you are really sorry about what you committed, if you really want to fix your crime that you committed, the first thing you should do is to bring those people, give them a piece of your land, and give them a country. Do not fix your crimes at the expense of our region. Our region did not see a day of peace since this foreign, illegal, inhumane structure created there. And the reason why there are constant wars, constant Dahiya doctrines, constant evacuation orders is because this is a foreign body that does not belong in the region. It only exists through force, through wars, through massacres, through ethnic cleansing, through genocides, and whoever envisioned or supported that crime should revisit it. They tried everything for the last 75 years to make it work. It's not working. It's getting more dangerous. It's getting more lethal. It's getting more malignant. And it's putting the whole world, the existence of all of us, wherever we are, at risk. It's time to revisit this whole inhumane, anti-human, illegal project. Thank you, Lara. I mean, we're really thank you for putting everything in perspective, for educating all of us about what's happening. And again, one last time, for the Shia people in Lebanon and Iran, we are all in full solidarity with you. As Sunnis, as Christians, as Jews, and all people of good conscience, you are not alone. And you are the victims, you are not the aggressors, you are not terrorists, you are not the threat to the world. The only threat to the world is the ones that we mentioned earlier. I don't want to keep naming them, you all know who they are. Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Lara before she... Any questions, please? There was a question about the chemicals in the water springs and stuff like that. Is there any names, or do we know any particular chemicals so far, or needs to be studied further and getting more samples?
Yeah, I think they're studying, the folks of the ground are studying it. I mean, we know that Agent Orange has been used, and that, I mean, this is the thing, to see how it's a creation of empire as well. We know that these chemicals, whether it's in Iraq or Vietnam or any of the places, that has always been used to subdue a people and make sure that the presence is not just in the present time, but to continue and to ensure that whether it's disabilities or a interruption of life continues far after the structure has left. We can think about also the ways in which, whether it's the Zionist entity or the American empire, might have its own end in mind, and to make sure that people continue to feel its presence even after we have ensured that the structure has fallen and been dismantled, right? There are some attempts at spraying farm fields in the south. We know they've done this to the cedars before in Lebanon as well. Some of our comrades on the ground who are working with the soil have said that those attempts have been largely unsuccessful. But a reminder to people also that part of infiltrating the land is also, for example, having mines. So after the Zionist entity was kicked out of Lebanon by Hezbollah in 2000, they continue to this day to refuse to hand over maps of where they have set landmines. So there have been many people who have lost their lives just walking in their land because there are landmines that the Zionist entity refuses to indicate, which again, talk about international law, that you have actually the responsibility to let people know where you have set landmines. That has not been done. But one of the beautiful things that I learned from my dear friend Munira Khayyat is that goats are immune. The goats happen to know where landmines are, so they go around them. So there are these wonderful ways in which people of the land and beings of the land, whether they are plants or animals or people, know their way around despite that. This newest chemical spray with the Agent Orange, that has a different, it's a forever chemical. That's a different ballgame altogether. And I think people are still trying to determine the damage overall. But we can see this, the ecocide, that it goes hand in hand. So when we talk about this as a structure of destruction, as ethnic cleansing, if you attempt to get rid of the land that provides sustenance to people, you ensure that they are ethnically cleansed and cannot habitate the place anymore. That there is not a place that can be sustain people. And that includes, by the way, just as we see across Palestine, the destruction of olives, the destruction of modes of sustenance that have gone on for hundreds of years. So it's also the disruption of the ability of people to sustain themselves. In Gaza, we see, for example, that seeds of any kind are not allowed to come in. And that is because the entity is insistent on the fact that the people of Gaza cannot sustain themselves without control of a larger structure. Now, what we see from our siblings in Gaza is a defiance of that. And that is what we want to know. That's what we see from Lebanon too, is that despite all the pressures to make sure that they cannot sustain themselves, our siblings across the region have shown time and time again how not only smart they are, but that they are the people of the land and they know how to sustain themselves. So imagine what it would be like if you could also dismantle all the larger structures that were hell-bent on making them have to find workarounds to sustain themselves.
Thank you. Martha, you have a question?
No, I was just wondering, as in Gaza, when they were trying to making people evacuate from the north, and there was a lot of people that had resisted that and stayed. I just wondered if what's happening with the mass evacuation in Lebanon.
We see many people who refuse to leave the south. I have friends and comrades who will have said over and over again, as we saw in Gaza, that this is our land and we refuse to leave. And if we're going to die, we're going to die on our land. And I think, again, the hubris and arrogance of the colonizer to think that people will they're not indigenous to the land, so they don't understand the connection to it and why people would stay there no matter what. But I think there are many people who are holding down the fort, and that includes resistance fighters. I really need to sort of highlight that right now, what the resistance fighters in Lebanon are up against is almost more than 100,000 IOF soldiers at the border, at the so-called border. And they are repelling to this day. There has, despite attempts at incursions, as I've said, there has not been one time in which an IOF soldier has actually been able to come into Lebanon because of the fierce resistance against the crossing of the border. But you can imagine. So those are the folks who remain in the south, and that's really important, because I think when we psychically vacate the south, we also vacate the people of the land who are there and resisting and defying orders to sort of leave that land free. The point of that is that what the Zionist entity has made clear is that they would like at least a 10-kilometer land grab to be able to set up more points of surveillance, but also, of course, what we know is that this is the expansionist project of Greater Israel, that if you have 10-kilometer incursion into a sovereign nation, you are never going to leave. And that is part of what they're doing. And so the people who are resisting on the ground there, whether it's civilians or people who live there, but also the people of the land, are the resistance fighters who really refuse to leave. Now, because of such heavy surveillance, which we also know from the pager attacks, how they were infiltrated, is we know and understand, and there's been reporting that resistance fighters now more than ever have been completely disconnected from their families and from everybody else, because they cannot afford to be tracked. They cannot afford that their families be targeted, which we also know is part of what they do, again, to turn the community against those who are fighting a valiant fight against an intruder, is to make sure that there is collective punishment. So those who have decided to stay on their land, as is their right to, are also living very isolated lives. And I think, again, for us to think psychologically about what that means. Now, their commitment is larger. They have a cause they're fighting for. They know about their self-determination is the most important thing, and the sanctity and sovereignty of their land. But that is one thing we need to consider sort of in a long-term way about what that means, and the ways that people have had to disconnect from their entire communities just to fight the fights that they have the right to fight.
Wow. It's so wonderful to hear your strong voice, and we would love to have you every week to just give us updates on Lebanon. And for people, please follow Dr. Sheehi's podcast. It has a very brave name, Psychic Militant. Psychic Militant. It's
Psychic militancy. Yeah.
Oh, Psychic Militancy. Sorry.
Yes.
Psychic Militancy. It is on YouTube, and she has many episodes that are available for us to hear more from her. Thank you, Lara, and we really appreciate
Thank you all so much. Yatikun alf afi. I'm in constant admiration of you all for all your labor and all the work that you do for us all.
Thank you. I don't know, Nidal, are you busy? We have Ilyas Abu Safiya with us, the son of Dr. Abu Safiya. Ilyas?
ايوه السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام. إلياس أنت أكبر واحد صح؟
نعم صحيح.
He's the oldest son of Dr. Ilyas, Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya. And as you know, Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya is the one who inspired Doctors Against Genocide more than anyone else, really. We met Dr. Abu Safiya when he was in Kamal Adwan Hospital. His hospital was surrounded by tanks. He was giving us updates on the phone and WhatsApp. And then we started this webinar because we wanted to protect him and see if, just putting the spotlight on Kamal Adwan would save the hospital. Unfortunately, even that did not work. And despite letters to Trump and the Trump administration basically appealing to them to keep the hospital open. The hospital was destroyed, and Dr. Abu Safiya has been incarcerated since December 2024. Sadly, Dr. Abu Safiya, the brave and committed Dr. Abu Safiya, who did not leave the bedside of his pediatric patients, and he had to do surgeries when he was not a surgeon, is incarcerated in very awful conditions, and he has been denied medical care and even tortured. We think of him every day, and we have campaigns to free him, and Ilyas can give us updates on his father himself. شكرا إلياس.
مهم.
أهلا وسهلا إلياس. Do you hear us?
أهلين أهلين دكتور، الله يسلمك. الحمد
كيف
لله، كيف
حالك؟ شو
حالك؟
أخبارك؟
الحمد
Good,
لله
الحمد
تمام،
لله.
مشتاقين لك. الله يبارك فيك يا
كل
رب.
عام وأنت بخير.
أنت بالصحة والسلامة إن شاء الله حبيبنا دكتور.
So everyone is here patiently waiting. We want to hear updates about Dr. Hussam and his colleagues. حابين نسمع آخر الأخبار about your father, and again as a continuation of their crimes, the attack on healthcare, the medicide, the abduction, illegal abduction of doctors, healthcare workers, torturing them, imposing on them conditions of life, of psychological and physical, hurt. Many of them, unfortunately, few healthcare workers have died in these illegal detention camps. Many of them are denied proper health care. Many of them are subjected to these tortures, both physically and mentally. And their families, also not knowing what's happening with them, is putting them under huge psychological impact. It is an obligation for doctors, healthcare workers all over the world. If we don't stand for anything, at least stand with our colleagues, because practicing medicine is not a crime. Providing for your patients, for your community is not a crime. Treating children is not a crime. Any excuse you hear otherwise is meant to justify genocide, medicide. It's meant to make all of us unsafe. It's meant to dehumanize all of us. Any doctor in the world, whether you are in the United States or anywhere else in the world, you should feel more unsafe knowing that your colleagues, your doctors, colleagues, nurses, paramedics, anywhere else in the world have become a fair target, and actually many times an intentional target to as a part of the campaign, and the genocidal campaign, to destroy their community and their ability to survive and to provide for their communities. This is happening in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Iran, and ICE is attacking our healthcare institutions here. And for all those who did not believe us when we said this 2 years ago or even before that, you should believe it now. ICE is coming to your clinic, to your hospital, and ICE is coming to the airport now. Trump issued ICE is going to the airport. So ICE is going to be in your face everywhere because you were silent, and you will pay for it. But that does not mean that we cannot fix this. We can always mobilize, and we can always put a stop for this. تفضل إلياس، أهلا وسهلا فيك.
حبيبنا دكتور، أهلا بك. طبعا في البداية السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وكل عام وجميع يعني الإخوة والأعضاء في مؤسسة أطباء ضد الإبادة، وعلى رأسهم الدكتور الحبيب دكتور نضال وجميع الموجودين عبر اللقاء. كل عام وأنتم بألف خير إن شاء الله، ونسأل الله تعالى أن يجعلكم من عوادينه، وأن يعاد علينا براحة البال وتفريج الكرب، وأن يجمعنا يعني بوالدنا إن شاء الله عما قريب.
So, of course, Ilyas is like his dad. He's an excellent speaker. MashaAllah anhum. That whole family is amazing. They have something to do with words and heart and empathy and life. So he's thanking all of you, and he's wishing you, all of you, happy Eid and happy holidays, and wish that all of you are safe, and thankful for the space and the solidarity with the people of Gaza and the doctors of Gaza. تفضل إلياس.
طبعا دكتور، بما يخص آخر الزيارة أو آخر يعني الأخبار المتعلقة بوالدي وبالأسرى في داخل السجون. طبعا بالنسبة لآخر الأخبار المتعلقة بوالدي، بالأخص الدكتور حسام أبو صفية. طبعا كانت آخر زيارة للمحامي قبل حوالي شهر من اليوم. وطبعا في كل مرة كالعادة يقوم بنقل لنا يعني وضع والدي الصحي والنفسي في داخل السجن. طبعا الظروف القاسية جدا، وخصوصا في سجن نفحة المعروف بإجرامه بحق الأسرى الفلسطينيين، وخصوصا الكوادر الطبية.
So the last they heard from their dad is through the lawyer visiting him a month ago, and he reported them about his physical and mental status. They were notified that he is now in the notorious Nafha prison in the south of Palestine. This prison is known for its harsh treatment of the prisoners, inhumane treatment of the prisoners, which make them more and more worried about his health and his safety. تفضل.
طبعا دكتور، يعني ننوه بالنسبة للأوضاع اللي بيعيشوها الأسرى يعني في داخل سجن نفحة بالأخص. يعني كما أسلفت منذ قليل، هذا السجن المعروف بإجرامه بحق الأسرى، وخصوصا يعني موقعه الموجود في يعني صحراء النقب. يعني حيث هناك البرودة في الليل ويعني الحرارة في النهار. طبعا الأوضاع اللي بيعيشها الأسرى طبعا يعني أوضاع يعني لا تحتمل إنسانيا ولا أخلاقيا، من حيث الإهمال والحرمان من أبسط الحقوق. يعني منذ أكثر من شهر يا دكتور تم حرمان والدي من زيارة المحامي بشكل كامل، بحجة الأوضاع الأمنية بحرب، يعني بسبب حرب إيران. وطبعا يعني هذا ما يزيد قلقنا بشكل كبير جدا كعائلة، خاصة في ظل انقطاع أي معلومات حقيقية عن وضع والدي الصحي أو النفسي.
So, as you all know, that the conditions in all the Israeli detention camps are horrible. Their treatment of the prisoners are horrible. We know that their Ben Gvir, the criminal in chief there, actually enjoys treating the prisoners in a bad way, especially in this prison, which is in the south of Palestine, in the Negev. It's very cold there at night. They are enduring all these conditions um, that are intentionally imposed on them. It means to break them. And the lawyer was allowed to visit him almost once a month before, but since the start of the Iran war, under the excuse of security situation, they are not allowing any visitation from his lawyer to check on him. And as you all know, also, the family has never been allowed to visit him before. تفضل الياس.
نعم دكتور، طبعا حاب كمان أنوه لنقطة، يعني إحنا شعورنا كعائلة، أو خلينا أتكلم أنا يعني عن عائلات الأسرى. يعني صراحة مش بس إحنا كاسم يعني عائلة الدكتور حسام أبو صفي، لا، خلينا نتكلم عن عامة الأسرى الموجودين في داخل السجون الإسرائيلية، وخاصة الأطباء والكوادر الطبية الذين يعني تم اعتقالهم من داخل المراكز الصحية ومن المستشفيات خلال يعني فترة الحرب. طبعا يعني عن شعورنا نحن كعائلة صراحة، يعني فالكلمات يا دكتور تعجز عن وصف الألم يعني اللي بنعيشه بشكل يومي. يعني خصوصا تمر علينا أيام مثل رمضان والعيد، وصراحة يعني في ظل أيضا انقطاع الأخبار يعني عن والدي وعن عن وضعه الصحي وعن وضعه النفسي. طبعا يعني نحن لا نعيش حياة طبيعية، بل نعيش فراغ كبير جدا خلفه يعني والدي في كل زاوية من حياتنا. يعني أصبح للأسف الشديد مكانه فارغ، يعني البيت يعني صراحة بدون صوت والدي ليس بيتا، والفرح يعني صراحة يعني بدون وجود والدي ليس فرحا. وصراحة الأيام التي يعني نمر بها صعبة للغاية.
So the impact of this is not just on the prisoners themselves, which is very cruel, and I think the last 2 years have shown all of us the way they treat the prisoners. It's also on their families, you know, all the families of the prisoners. Imagine your loved one is in a place that you know they are being tortured there, they are being treated in inhumane ways, and just having to live with this feeling day in and day out without knowing their fate, what's going to happen to them, is very, very upsetting to the family. It's keeping them under huge distress. Not having their loved one to share, the traditional, events that people have, like Ramadan, like prayers, like being at home, providing for the family, is adding a huge toll on the families. And knowing that there are 10,000 Palestinian hostages, illegal hostages in Israel, 10,000. This means it is impacting 10,000 families. So you're talking about, hundreds of thousands of people who are impacted by this. It goes beyond just the individual detainee. It affects all their families and their, the way they go about their life. تفضل إلياس.
نعم دكتور، أيضا يعني صراحة بتكلم طبعا باسمي وباسم عائلات كل الأسرى اللي بيعانوا لا زالوا حتى هذا اليوم. يعني صراحة يعني لا يمكن وصف كيف يمكن أن يعني نستقبل الأعياد والمواسم وأن نبتسم وأن نشعر بالطمأنينة وبالفرح، وطبعا الأسرى خلف القضبان يتألمون ويحرمون من أبسط حقوقهم الإنسانية. طبعا كل لحظة بتمر علينا كعائلة أو بتمر على كل عائلات الأسرى نشعر فيها بالحزن. ويعني صراحة كل خبر يعني ما يخص موضوع الأسرى أو الحرب بين إيران وإسرائيل يعني نضع أيدينا على قلوبنا، وكل خبر ننتظره يعني صراحة يعني يحمل خوفا لا يمكن وصفه صراحة. طبعا دكتور، أنا أؤمن برسالة مؤسسة أطباء ضد الإبادة، وأعلم جيدا بأن لهذه المؤسسة دور كبير جدا في نقل معاناتنا نحن يعني كعائلة الدكتور حسام أبو صفية وكعائلات كل الأسرى. أؤمن أن هذه المؤسسة لها دور كبير جدا في نقل رسالتنا ومعاناتنا نحن كعائلة.
You're muted, Nidal.
Again, Elias saying that the impact of this on the families is severe. They are in constant fear day and night that at any moment they might hear bad news about their loved ones. Just the fact that they know they are there being tortured and treated inhumanely is by itself very hard and painful. But knowing that they might even hear worse news, especially in this war, because these prisoners are being held under, under their will, and I don't think Israel provides for the safety or security of the prisoners. So, anytime there is an attack, these families get really, really nervous that their loved ones might be attacked. And I really think even, just for that sake, for the sake of that these people are not safe, not being protected, we should, all of us, appeal to the international community for their immediate release, at least be there with their families if they cannot be provided safety where they are now. And this also goes as a call to the Red Cross, that always champions, human rights and neutrality, but they never exposed Israel as they should, because Israel is not allowing them to visit the prisoners. They are not allowing them to check on their status. They are not allowing them to see if they are being treated according to international law. And now we know Israel cannot guarantee their safety. So the least they can do is to release them to their families. تفضل إلياس.
نعم دكتور، أيضا صراحة في نقطة مهمة يعني لازم إحنا نوضحها لأعضاء مؤسسة أطباء ضد الإبادة وللرأي العام بما يخص يعني آخر حملات يعني الجيش الإسرائيلي أو يعني هذه يعني الصفحات والقنوات المشبوهة التي حاولت تضليل صورة الوالد ويعني تبشيع رمزيته أمام كل العالم بما يخص نشر صورة تتبع للخدمات الطبية بالزي المعروف بزي الخدمات الطبية. طبعا هاي نقطة مهمة جدا أنه نحكي فيها. طبعا حتى هذه اللحظة دكتور بعد التواصل مع المحامي للمرة الأخيرة طبعا منذ فترة، طبعا ملف الوالد القضائي حتى هذه اللحظة نظيف تماما، ولا توجد أي تهم حقيقية مثبتة بحق الوالد رغم نشر الجيش الإسرائيلي صورته بزي الخدمات الطبية ومحاولة تبشيع الصورة ورمزية الوالد، وهم يعلمون يعني يقينا بأن هذه الصورة صراحة يعني ليست تهمة، وهم يعلمون بأن هذه الصورة تتبع للخدمات الطبية. طبعا جهاز الخدمات الطبية دكتور هو يعني جهاز حكومي ينتمي للحكومة بشكل مباشر كباقي المستشفيات، ويتبع لوزارة الصحة بشكل مباشر. طبعا هذا الجهاز يخدم طبعا الأجهزة الحكومية مثل الشرطة يعني عائلاتهم وأطفالهم، أيضا البلديات، أيضا الموظفين الحكوميين، يعني كل موظفين الحكومة بشكل عام. طبعا يعني صراحة هذه المحاولات لا زالت حتى هذه اللحظة يعني تنشر عبر صفحات مشبوهة وقنوات مشبوهة تخدم مصلحة الإسرائيليين في تضليل صورة الأطباء يعني عامة، وليس والدي فحسب، وأيضا خصوصا مستشفى كمال عدوان الذي بقي صامدا حتى يعني اللحظة الأخيرة وحتى الرمق الأخير أثناء حصار شمال قطاع غزة.
So Elias is appealing for all of you to do all what you can to help your colleagues, especially the ones who are being illegally abducted. He also wants to dispel the rumors and the accusation that Israel and its supporters are throwing at these doctors. One of them is a picture of Dr. Hussam in a military fatigue. This does not prove anything. They are doctors like there are doctors anywhere else in the world. Here in the United States, working in the VA, every country in the world who have doctors who serve the the police and stuff like that, and those people can't put military fatigue does not mean that they are part of this. They are still doctors, and all what they do is providing health care to that community. Anyone wants to elaborate on this more, Karama or Dr. Lara? If I mistranslated anything.
I think, it's a Dr. Hussam, as part of his job, wears a uniform that is related to خدمات طبية. خدمات طبية means medical services. And Ilyas has explained to us that خدمات طبية, medical services, is a body that is responsible for providing services for the families and the children of government employees. And the Israelis are using this to show that Dr. Abu Safiya has some militant position, which is completely untrue and false. And it's a way of manufacturing consent to make it seem like he deserves it, what is happening to him. And, by the way, Ilyas, there
نعم
was an article written about me, myself, because
نعم
Dr. Abu Safiya's campaign, which is Free Dr. Abu Safiya, saying that thing. And it's a very suspect publication that is written in a basement of some random dude who writes in a publication spreading lies and making things seem that the Palestinians are militant, everyone is responsible for terrorism, and therefore they deserve what comes to them. So we push against it. Not a single Palestinian is guilty. Not a single Palestinian. None of the 10,000 people who are held in custody is guilty. All Palestinians do is defend themselves against the most brutal occupation in existence. I just saw a picture of a baby, a 1-year-old baby that has been tortured by the Israelis to force his father to confess.
نعم
Yeah.
نعم
And to add to this picture and many other accusations are being used as part of the Hasbara and the PR against these doctors and the hostages that are being held there and against the Palestinian people. And to prove that the Israelis themselves are lying, they themselves did not use this as evidence against him. He's been detained now for more than a year, and there is no official charges, not a single official charge against Dr. Hussam. So if they really knew that this is something that they can use as a charge, or he has charges, there are charges against him, they could have presented it. But knowing that, fully knowing that, they're still spreading these pictures, these rumors, just as a campaign of hasbara, of lies, of misinformation and disinformation to manufacture consent for this genocide and miticide they are committing against the people of Palestine, the people of Lebanon, the people of Iran, all the native people on the region by the foreigners to that region.
Right.
تفضل
دكتور
يا
نضال
تفضل يا الله
شكرا.
يخليك يا ريت.
الياس
And
يعطيك
can you
ألف عافية.
الله يعافيك والله.
can you
Yes.
translate for Ilyas going forward too? I trust you more with translate.
لا أبدا، يعطيك ألف عافية، ونحن قلوبنا معك من لبنان على فلسطين.
الله
نحن
يخليكم.
المقاومة مستمرة خيي، ورح
على راسي
نكون ناصرين كلنا سوا.
على راسي والله، على راسي. شكرا. نسأل الله إن شاء الله الفرج القريب يعني عن أهلنا في لبنان إن شاء الله،
إن شاء
ويقف
الله.
يعني إن شاء الله يا رب الدمار.
نحن معكم دايما. But I also wanted to just uplift what Ilyas was saying, which is the centrality of the movement for the liberation of all political prisoners. One of the things that I appreciate so much, and I've heard from your family and from everybody, is that your father is yes, he is your father, and that is near and dear to my heart. And what you said, that it is a hard life not having him near you, not hearing his voice, and yet he is part of a larger movement. And we know this is an old story of the Zionist state sort of holding political prisoners in indefinite detention, making up charges, oftentimes not even giving any charges. We know that they do this as at the age as young as 9, keeping people under false pretenses and torturing them. So I just want to say I appreciate that you and your family have always linked the incarceration of your father as one of a political project of settler colonialism, and that you always say it's about all the political prisoners, that your father is one of many political prisoners. And inshallah, that is what our liberation is for, and runs through Al-Quds for that reason, because our political prisoners are the center of the struggle.
إن شاء الله.
شكرا.
Thank you so much, dear Lara. Thank you.
Anyone has any questions for Ilyas? Do you have any questions here?
معلش الياس طول بالك، نحن كلنا
نعم.
بنفس يعني we are suffering the same way, and we should find solidarity and in each other and believe us, Dr. Abu Safiya is on our thoughts just like you, and it's very difficult to celebrate Eid. It's very difficult to celebrate even family gathering, knowing that, our people in Gaza and our people in Lebanon have no homes. They're in tents. There is hardly food insecurity is constant. It's a very difficult time, and inshallah we will pass and we will conquer.
إن شاء الله. إن شاء
Yeah,
الله.
I have another question for you from Dr. Sui. بس إلياس مثل ما حكى الدكتور كرام، احنا كلنا معك. We all
حبيبي.
agree with you. And Dr. Hussam, he touched the heart of every human being on this planet and the heart of every doctor. He is our role model, who قدوتنا. And for us, Doctors Against Genocide, we owe him so much. Dr. Hussam is the reason we have this webinar. It started because of him. He's the one who inspired us to it. He was the first guest on it. It was made for him and continued to be happening every week for the last year and a half because of Dr. Hussam. So until Dr. Hussam and his colleagues are free, we will continue. We will not stop. We will continue. We will keep pushing. وكلنا معك. ويعني شو بدي احكي لك، هو مثل اخ عزيز واحنا بنحبه بالضبط as much as you love him. I mean, we know of course you're his son, your family, but we all love him as a colleague, and as a role model for all of us. And what he did, I think, the reason why they took him is exactly because he heard their propaganda. He heard their, PR machine, her husband. He exposed him. The whole world started listening to him. So we're sorry that we're not able to do more to help him. Inshallah, we'll continue to do more. But he's paying the price because they could not take it anymore from him. If Dr. Hussam continued to be outside, and sharing the truth about what is happening, they know they will lose this propaganda war in no time. So it was intentional, and as his voice and his presence outside was inspiring for all of us, his detention also continued to inspire all of us. He is paying the price for all the medical community, all people of good conscience, that to have integrity, to refuse to abandon your duty, to refuse to abandon the communities that need you the most, is something most valuable, very valuable, and more important to humanity than Israel itself and than the United States. So they could not keep him talking. That's why they have to lock him up and detain him. Dr. Sui, تفضلي. I have another question from Dr. Sui.
You're on mute, Doctor.
I haven't got a question, but I just want to thank Ilyas, that I'm so grateful that he has spoken to us, because it must be so difficult, this is Dr. Lara as well. But what you said, both of you said, so precious. I'm not a Palestinian, I'm not an Arab, but as a
you
friend.
You are.
Okay, an honorary one.
You got it since 1982.
He's Arab.
But I just want to tell you, the greatest honor of my life is to be with you all and listen to you all, and to be in the presence of real heroes, who actually serve humanity without reservations. And I'm so proud to be able to be part of this webinar as well. We will do whatever we can. We don't have a lot of power, but whatever we have, we will dedicate it to your people.
Inshallah. Thank you.
You understand what I'm saying? My Arabic is hopeless, so I can. Thank you. Shukran. Yes,
you.
shukran. Yeah.
Shukran.
Dr. Sheehi has to leave also. So
Yeah.
thank you, Lara. Please, this is your home. We want your voice every week, especially now.
Yeah.
Please, every week,
Yes.
whenever you have
Yeah,
time.
tell us about
You can
Thank you
come.
all.
You can come for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for
Yeah.
half an hour, for 4 hours. So whatever
Next
you
week
can donate.
next week I can be with you again inshallah.
inshallah. الله
Inshallah.
يخليكي, please. We need
يعطيكم
more
ألف
updates.
عافية
الله
للجميع.
يخليك. شكرا
شكرا.
لارا.
Bye
شكرا.
bye.
Lara, thank you so much.
إلياس
Thank you.
Dr.
Sure.
حسام أبو صفية is فخور فيك. He's
حبيبي
proud of
دكتور.
you. He is
تسلم.
proud of you, and we are proud of you. And we wish we all have sons and daughters like you
Yeah.
who
الله
will
يبارك
stand
فيك يا رب.
and defend us when we need them. فما شاء
الله
الله
يسلمك.
عنك. Stay strong.
تسلم.
Take care of your family. Take care of your mom. And
إن
keep
شاء الله.
speaking up. And inshallah, us and you and all the people of good conscience all over the world, inshallah, we will win. And inshallah,
إن شاء
we
الله.
will see Dr. Hussam soon back
يا
in
رب.
his home and in Gaza. And
يا رب.
as I told you before, we are starting a project to rebuild Dr. Hussam unit, Kamal Udwan Hospital, the pediatric unit. And inshallah, we promise you that, inshallah, by the time he leaves, inshallah, by the time he gets his freedom, he will go back and work in the same unit even better
يا
than
رب.
what it was before. That is our promise to you and to him and to all the people and the victims of this genocide in Gaza. فشكرا إلياس. I know it takes a toll on you to keep speaking, keep talking, but your voice is important, and we are really proud. And inshallah, we'll hear from you the news of your dad's release soon. But until then, we need to keep speaking up, and please keep coming whenever you have time. Give us any updates. If there is anything we can help with. I know we are waiting to have Dr. Mofokeng join us. She is the UN Rapporteur on the right to health, and she's also starting a new campaign for Dr. Hussam.
Hmm.
And Elias already gave her the consent, on the family behalf that she is authorized to do this. I hope she can join us, but if not, that is also another front that we are trying to fight from. And if anyone has any other ideas, please keep sending us ideas, suggestions. You can email us at info@doctorsagainstgenocide.org, and keep spreading the word. Keep talking to your doctors, to your colleagues, to your hospitals, that doctors, nurses should never be abducted. Practicing medicine is not a crime. Treating patients and children, and even militants, even soldiers, is not a crime. This is our job. This is the medical neutrality. You are obligated to treat everyone, even Trump. If Trump gets a heart attack in front of me, unfortunately, I have to treat him.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait, for this. But I mean, unfortunately, even him or Netanyahu, for that matter. But
It was like,
Yeah, I want to tell you something. Yesterday, I was speaking to a whole group of people, and I got so worked up. So I told everybody, I said, health workers and doctors, especially doctors, who know a genocide is happening, treat the victims of genocide, and if they don't speak up, they are guilty of complicity. Yeah. So it is our job.
أهلا وسهلا الياس.
نعم دكتور، ما سمعت صراحة السؤال.
No, ما فيش سؤال. بقول أهلا وسهلا. Anything else you want to share, الياس؟ بدك
نعم
تحكي ثاني؟
طبعا.
تفضل.
نعم دكتور، طبعا حاب ان طبعا في نهاية اللقاء احكي لك انه احنا كلنا بنحبكم وانتم يعني تاج راسنا، وشكرا كثير يعني على اتاحة الفرصة حتى ننقل صوتنا وحتى ننقل يعني رسالتنا ومعاناتنا نحن كعائلة، وننقل معاناة كل الأسرى من الكوادر الطبية اللي حاليا بيعانوا، واللي هو يعني أنتم يعني صراحة يا دكتور، أنتم يعني كمؤسسة أطباء ضد الإبادة، يعني أنتم الأمل الوحيد يعني لوالدي ولكل الأسرى في داخل السجون. فيعني صراحة لقائي بك يا دكتور وفي كل الأعضاء طبعا عبر مؤسسة أطباء ضد الإبادة الموقرة، طبعا هذا زادني شرف كبير جدا صراحة. وصراحة والله خفف عن معاناتنا، ويعني أنا حاليا يعني سبحان الله أشعر بالأمل الكبير أنه يعني رسالتنا ومسيرتنا لا زالت مستمرة بفضل جهودكم المباركة في إحياء منظومة مستشفى كمال عدوان. طبعا بصمات الخير يا دكتور، بصماتكم يعني واضحة في غزة وفي صراحة في مستشفى كمال عدوان. فطبعا يعني إن شاء الله تعالى لن ننسى يعني هذا المعروف، ولن ننسى هذه الوقفات المشرفة من يعني أشرف الأطباء حول العالم في مؤسسة أطباء ضد الإبادة. وإن شاء الله تعالى عما قريب يخرج والدي، وإن شاء الله راح نخبره في كل هذه الجهود الطيبة والمباركة. وصراحة إن شاء الله تعالى راح يكون أنا يعني متيقن أنه راح يكون من أسعد الناس بفضل هذه الجهود. فشكرا أنتم تاج رؤوسنا والله.
Allah يخليك. So Elias saying he loves all of you and he appreciates all of you and he appreciates everything you do to help his father and all the hostages that are being illegally detained by the illegal regime of Israel. And he supports or he also appreciates all the support that you are all providing by your voice, by your effort, by your donations to the people of Gaza to help the victims survive this genocide. He especially appreciates any effort to help rebuild Kamal Udwan Hospital because, as you all know, there are no functioning hospitals in the north of Gaza now. All of them are out of service. مستشفى العودة Hospital and Rantisi Hospital, unfortunately, are out of service and they are outside the yellow line, so they are under Israeli control. The people of Gaza have no access to them. The only hospital that remains outside the yellow line that the people of the north can have access to is Kamal Udwan Hospital. That's why rebuilding this hospital is very important, very vital. People in the north, many of them are going back to the north, but they have no access to medical care. So rebuilding this hospital, even with the basic services, will help them stay there, will help provide access to care to them. And unfortunately, if we don't provide this, people, when they don't see they have access to care or many other services, they tend to go back to the south. So we don't want this to happen. Rebuilding the hospital is part of helping the people go back to their homes and help them, resist this campaign of ethnic cleansing. So please, any support for that campaign is much appreciated, while we also continue to support the release of Dr. Hassam and his colleagues. Elias, what are you doing now? Are you going to school? What do you do?
دكتور أنا خلصت، أنا طبعا تحاليل طبية بالإضافة لدبلوم إسعاف متقدم بالإضافة لبكالوريوس يعني إدارة وسياسات عامة.
ما
أنا
شاء
كنت
الله. You have all these. You have all these. You look too young.
28 عام عمري، يعني 28 سنة.
ما شاء الله، مش مبين عليك. So you have a bachelor in بكالوريوس ايش؟
بكالوريوس إدارة وسياسات عامة من جامعة القدس المفتوحة.
Administration and general policy. Then you have a diploma in laboratory technician, and you have also an advanced degree in paramedics and EMS services.
Yes.
Good. خلاص إن شاء الله when Dr. Hassam is free we all go back and work together.
إن شاء الله إن شاء الله نسأل الله ذلك.
إن شاء الله.
يا
الله
رب
يخليك.
يا رب.
الله
حبيبي
يخليك.
دكتور.
نورتنا
الله
شرفتنا.
ينور
إن شاء الله
عليك.
بنضل على اتصال.
الله يسعدك يا رب. شكرا شكرا
الله
كثير يا دكتور. شكرا
Thank you.
للجميع. الله يسعدك.
شكرا يا إلياس. You
الله
can
يبارك
stay
فيك.
with us, but you can leave if you have to go. But if not, if you want to stay with us and hear our other speakers, that will be good. It's always good to have you around.
طبعا لازم نستمع إن شاء الله.
Any other questions for Ilyas, guys? Sorry. Okay, I think Dr. Sui had her hand from before.
Dr. Nizar,
Yes.
I think it's not so much a question for Elias, it's a question for the hospital. I just need a few sentences from the ICD about support. Yeah, that's very important because I haven't given up.
We're working on this, inshallah.
No need
Give me
great
3 days,
details.
yeah.
Just say that in principle they support and they think the refurbishing, the rebuilding of Kamal Datwan is very important, and to start a unit for Dr. Abu Safia is very, very important. That's all I need. Just 2 sentences. Yeah.
The least we can do to honor the legacy and the sacrifice of
Yeah,
Dr.
we have
Hassam
to
is
do that.
rebuild the hospital and the unit that he sacrificed all to keep it working and to keep it running.
Yeah.
And we really trust our people, our colleagues, our
Yeah.
supporters, and all people of good conscience to keep the campaign, to end the genocide, hold Israel accountable, to release all the hostages, and rebuild Gaza by the people of Gaza,
Yes.
listening to their demands,
Yeah.
acknowledging their dignity and their
Yeah.
agency. We don't want the parachute
No.
rebuilding by Kushner and Witkoff. The people of Gaza are more than capable. I thought Ilyas actually did not even go to school yet,
Yeah.
but mashallah, he already has 3 degrees.
Yeah.
Rami has 3 degrees. He
Yeah.
can put a presentation in 5 minutes that covers things
Correct.
that big corporations in the United States will take 6 months to
No,
put
we
together.
don't need them.
So they are more than capable. All what they need is the people of the world that owes the people of Gaza all the destruction, all the heartache they went through, is to support them so they can rebuild their community and their hospitals and their infrastructure. They don't need charity, as Karama said. They don't need aid. This is a debt that the world owes the people of Gaza.
Yeah.
Every one of us, especially those who supported this genocide, enabled this genocide, and those who remained silent. You owe them legally, you owe them according to international law by enabling a genocide. You owe these people at least. The least you can do is to help them rebuild their own life, their own communities. So ألف شكر والله فخورين فيك يا إلياس وانت
حبيبي
دائما
شكرا.
تحاول فرحنا. I know things are hard, but just seeing you make our hearts smile. So
Yeah.
we will not
شكرا.
give up. إن شاء الله حتى
حبيبي
النصر
دكتور.
يعني حتى النصر.
الله يبارك فيك ان شاء الله، اللهم امين ان شاء الله. شكرا
الله
دكتور،
يخليك.
بارك الله
يخليك.
فيكم ان شاء الله.
شكرا حبيبي.
الله
شكرا.
يحفظك يا رب.
مع الف
الله
سلامة.
يسلمك، يعطيكم العافيه. السلام
الله
عليكم.
يعافيك. مع السلامة. مع السلامة. الله يسلمك.
Sadly, we don't have the Cuba group.
They will come. They said they had a meeting or something, but they will come. But we
Yeah.
can go to Hadija. Hadija's here before we lose her. And also Mundir was around. So maybe Mundir will come back. Hadija, are you there?
Yes. Salam,
Yes.
everybody.
Alaikum salam, Khadija. Thank you for joining us.
As always, it's great inspiration to listen and to be inspired by all of the incredible work that our comrades in the Palestinian movement are undertaking. Great inspiration for us. My name is Hadija, and I'm representing a volunteer youth organization called Let's Act Together for Congo, based in the eastern part of Congo, which is undergoing genocide right now, coming on to 30 years. It's going to be a 30th anniversary in August. I'm going to read during this presentation just a few facts about this genocide that's going on in Congo. We have been lucky to be in collaboration with Doctors Against Genocide, receiving a grant to support directly the communities that are affected by this genocide in Congo. And as always, it's from the bottom of our hearts, our entire team thank Doctors Against Genocide for this opportunity. So the genocide in Congo, I will read just a few general facts on it. The ongoing conflict in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, remains one of the most devastating crises in the world. Armed groups continue to exploit the country's rich mineral resources, driving widespread violence and instability. The resurgence of armed factions like M23 has displaced millions, exacerbating an already fragile humanitarian situation. With more than half of the population living in crisis, basic needs such as food, healthcare, and education remain out of reach for many Congolese. As violence spreads, the country's social fabric continues to be torn apart, leaving generations vulnerable to the horrors of conflict and poverty. These are all facts according to International Rescue Committee, the UN Refugee Agency, and other groups like the UN Security Council and MSF. So for displacement, over 7 million people are currently internally displaced in the DRC, one of the largest displacement crises globally. On hunger, more than 25 million people, approximately a quarter of the population, are experiencing acute food insecurity. On gender-based violence, in 2023, the UN recorded 123,000 cases of gender-based violence across the DRC. In January 2024 alone, 10,400 cases of sexual violence were reported in North Kivu province, one province in the country. Children, nearly 4.5 million children suffer from acute malnutrition, with many in conflict-affected regions. On healthcare crisis, armed conflict and displacement have left more than half of the population without access to adequate healthcare, with resources often diverted or destroyed due to the violence. So those are just a few facts. And with what we are doing in collaboration with the support of Doctors Against Genocide to improve the living conditions, to sustain the life and the humanity and the dignity of the more than few people who've been able to support with the resources that have been collected and have been gathered by all of our supporters with Doctors Against Genocide, and the capacity that you all have created and have expanded towards us. We thank you, and it's always a pleasure and an honor to be involved, listening in on these webinars and sharing with you the work that we are doing on the ground. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hadija. And as always, the thanks goes to you. We appreciate you giving us the opportunity to stand in solidarity with the people of Congo. And it is never something, it is our duty to refuse to look away and to be in the corner of people who are suffering because of exploitation. These people are suffering so that capitalists can make more money and can generate more profits. And this is not because they deserve what is happening to them. And because of that, we will always stand with you and stand with the people in Congo and stand with the people in Palestine, in Lebanon, in Iran, in Tigray, everywhere that there is exploitation by an imperialist power. We will resist that because these are the conditions that destroy health. And we as a medical community are committed to opposing that. And as always, Doctors Against Genocide is focused on education. That's why we appreciate hearing from you, hearing from Lara. It's always different when the people who have personal connections to the region speak. We learn way more from you when you speak than if we just read something. And so education is very important. Advocacy is it's in our mission as well. That's why we do not only hear, we actually speak up. We try to change policy. We pressure elected officials. We do these webinars to garner support from everyone. And the third part of Doctors Against Genocide is community support. We do not call it aid. It is not charity. It is not something that we do because we feel like helping. It is our duty. And it is the least we can do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been an honor, and our communities are surviving. They are living another day to fight for their dignity and to fight for the right to live on their land and the right to be the beneficiaries of their own country's mineral wealth. They live another day. The children are being immunized. The children are getting supplements from malnutrition. The elderly are being looked after. It means so much in a place where everything has collapsed. Yeah. Totally everything has collapsed. It means so much to get resources directly in the hands of the people who need it.
Absolutely, with their own agency, the way they want to do it, the way they decide how they want to do it. We just support them to do what is best for their own communities. And we do the same for the communities of women who suffered sexual violence. And that's also very important because sexual violence is a tool of genocide in Congo. And the least we can do is to be on the side of the women that have been violated, to show them that we care, show them that they matter, show them that their children matter. So we support their hospital bills, their education, the education of their children, and medications as well.
Yes.
And inshallah, we will continue to do that and until there is no more conditions that destroy the health of these communities.
Inshallah.
So, and we appreciate everyone who is with us, with Doctors Against Genocide, everyone who's helping us with material support, because we could not do it without people who are generous and who are also feeling the obligation to help. So thank you everyone who donated. Please donate again. Please spread the word. As I said, I don't feel like it is charity. I feel this is our duty and the least we can do. Yeah, shukran, ya Hadija. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Did Mundhir come? No.
Yeah, he came and I think he lost connection, but I'll try to have him come back again. We have Dr. Habib here. He's our colleague from the UK who has been to Gaza on a mission recently. Dr. Habib, are you there with us?
Yes, Dr. Nidal, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Is there anything you want to share with us? That would be great.
Thank you. Yeah, Eid Mubarak. And Khadija, are you still there, or I was hoping
Still
to
here,
ask
just
something
listening.
actually. Oh, hi. So, but one thing that has been talked about a lot has been the ties of the tech industry to the conflict in Congo. And of course, we always want to try and focus on the things that are most effective, such as the work that Doctors Against Genocide are doing. And how effective do you think it is, tech boycotts? Do you think that's an effective line of action?
I think so. Dr. Karame talked about policy changes, talked about agitating for policy decisions to be made. When they're made, when we rise up and say just free Congo out of our mouths as the consumers, are the people who are the beneficiaries of the humanitarian crisis, of the slavery, of the mass assault on women that's happening, so that these villages are emptied out and the women are made to scatter, the families are made to scatter, so that these Western corporations can come in and dig up that land that these people are previously on. So you have displacement of millions of people. So of course, saying, don't buy a new device if you don't need to. If you can share a laptop with with your family members, do that, as opposed to each person having one of their own. Just reducing the demand for these technology products, trying to use less and less of AI as possible, because the AI arms race between the US and China, the United States is trying to fight the monopoly that China currently has in the DRC's mining industry. And the US and the DRC are signing peace for minerals agreements, where the people who are actually involved, the community, is nowhere to be found. They're not at the table. So these are just deals that the elite and American corporations sign with governments that do not benefit the people. So reducing the demand for these minerals until real actionable structural change is seen at the bottom of the supply chain, until people are not being displaced for access to mineral resources that go into our technology, until women are not being raped en masse for access to these minerals, until the people of Congo become the first and key beneficiaries of this immense natural mineral wealth that they possess. Until then, yes, we have to talk about tech boycotts. We have to just, say that we know what Western corporations are doing in Congo. We are aware. And, companies like Apple, they don't want to be associated. I don't know if they care anymore, to be honest with you, to be associated with genocide and slaughter. Honestly, I don't know if they care anymore, because they continue to double down on support for the Zionist entity, for example. But of course, marketing, and especially to our consumer base, which is becoming more and more aware, which is becoming more and more sensitive, and which is against, generally speaking, a majority of the world is against genocide. So yes, talking about boycotts of these technologies is an important step in shifting policy changes at the bottom of the supply chain. Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions, Dr. Habib, or do you have any reflections about your recent mission to Gaza, about the situation with the doctors? Alhamdulillah, I think they are safe. They are back home. We are waiting for Dr. Ashraf and hopefully Dr. Salman to join us soon. They are a little bit busy now. But until then, we can have some reflections from our members here. Again, we're still waiting from Maisa and the team from Cuba to join us, and for Munder. تفضلوا. Any reflections, Dr. Habib?
Well, all of the delegates that I met when I was there, that they're all planning on going back, and that's pretty common from what I've learned, that everyone who goes to Gaza always wants to come back. And it's just, of course, it's a very uncertain situation as to how we'll be able to get in. The Israeli authorities, you're probably aware, that they have had a long-standing habit of only approving entry the day before the dates at which we're planning to enter. So and that's even before that's way before the attack on Iran. So I don't know how easy it will be now for any of us to return in the coming months. But inshallah, if the resistance throughout West Asia is able to prevail, then inshallah we'll be able to return and support our colleagues and help to rebuild Palestine. And of course, there is a long-term aim of reducing the power of this genocidal system that we're all fighting against.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Yes, inshallah we'll all be able to go back soon. But as you said, they are using every excuse they can have to prevent the people of Gaza to rebuild, to provide for themselves, and to prevent doctors, healthcare workers from all over the world to go to be witnesses to the crimes they are committing. And we as Palestinians also have an extra, a problem with that because they are not allowing anyone who's Palestinian or of Palestinian descent to go on missions. I think this is again part of the ethnic cleansing campaign. And the perpetrator, the ones who are committing genocide, should never be the ones who are controlling the recovery and the rebuilding and the providing for the community there. They are the aggressors. We should never leave the victims at the mercy of the aggressors. Unfortunately, the international system and the world is ruled by criminals, especially here in the White House in the West, and they are being handled by supremacists and more criminals in Israel. That's why it's putting everything upside down. That's why we, the people, should keep pushing back, should keep mobilizing and uniting and raising our voices until we fix the world for all of us. Karama, do you want to say anything?
Yes, I wanted to say something. I just wanted to say that in the West Bank there has been a massive escalation. Massive. It's so scary there. There is, the settlers come in droves in the hundreds, torching villages and the communities in the West Bank. And it's really pogroms every day. Cars are being burned, homes and houses being burned, children terrified, and people leaving their homes because where else would they, they just need safety. So I just think that we should focus on the West Bank and, raise the alarm there, which has been always an alarming situation. But under the guise of this war, Israel is, I guess, in the fog of war. They're hoping to ethnically cleanse as much as possible. And in addition to that, something very, very new and very concerning is that the Aqsa Mosque is being sealed. And this has not been the case for over 800 years, that the Eid service is not in Al-Aqsa Mosque and Ramadan prayers are not in the Aqsa Mosque. And it's also كنيسة القيامة what
Yeah.
is it in English? The church?
The Church of Sculpture,
Yeah.
Church.
Church, not nativity.
No,
Is it
sculpture.
like
Yes,
Holy Sepulchre?
Sepulchre, yeah.
Sepulchre Church, كنيسة المهد صح؟
Yes.
No, كنيسة القيامة is
Yeah.
the church that
The Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
yes, Holy Sepulchre, thank you.
Yeah, Jesus' grave.
It's also being sealed and prayers are not allowed there, which has also been
Well,
not the case for over 800 years. So there is a massive escalation in the West Bank. There is also this big concern that the goal is to actually destroy Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa Mosque, and probably the church as well, and rebuild the third temple. That's what, you would think this is fantasy and this is a conspiracy theory and it's just not real. But if you look at some of the people in the administration of Trump, they say it very clearly that, victory is going to be achieved by rebuilding of the third temple. So we live at really difficult times, and we have a choice of being aware and fighting back and standing in solidarity with everyone who's suffering, or being inhuman and pretend nothing is happening and carry on with normal life until it catches with us, because this is catching up with everyone. It is difficult, but I think we all find solace and find community together, and that's what keeps us going. So I want to thank everyone on the panel, everyone who's listening to us, everyone on the YouTube channel. We really appreciate the solidarity and appreciate being together in this. And if you have not signed up for the 1000 white coat event on the 15th of April, please do. I will put the link in the chat for everyone. It is Doctors Against Genocide effort, and we will have visits in the Congress and the Senate. And we want to show a big showing. We will be speaking up against the war in Iran, against the genocide in Gaza, the genocidal campaign in Lebanon, against ICE intrusion into our daily lives and criminalizing our neighbors, and against the criminalizing and the dehumanizing language against the LGBT community, and denial of health benefits to many people, while spending so much money on the war, the Ministry of War. So we will be together in Washington, D.C. on the 15th of April, and I'm gonna put the link here. A lot of people are asking, is this a healthcare action? It is a healthcare action, so we want to have as many healthcare workers, but also we appreciate supporters who come to support us in this action. So if you are moved by this and you want to join us, please join.
So April 15, that's a call for all doctors, healthcare workers in the United States and their community and their supporters to join us for this important day of action, where we bring to our politicians our complete disgust with the crimes they are committing both at home and overseas against healthcare, against humanity, against wars, against the destruction of countries, of peoples, of nations, committing genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, the attacks on healthcare here at home, the ICE, the defunding of our healthcare system, taking away money from our vulnerable communities, only to send them to the billionaires to make more money by, committing more wars and war crimes. I think our people here, there's, I think, an estimate of about maybe 30, 40 million people who have no health insurance. We know that this country has more than $30 trillion of debt. And despite this, despite fixing our debt, despite providing care for our people, we're sending billions and billions of dollars to a country that has universal health care, that has universal university education. This is anti-human, this is anti-American. Everyone who cares about humanity should prioritize using their money and their funds, their resources for the good of the humanity, for the good of their community, rather than to enrich the psychopathic ruling class controlled by the Zionist handlers. I know many people, millions of people here in the United States, all over the world, have been brainwashed for decades by this mainstream media and creating enemies with everyone. But if the last few years, if anything, they exposed them all, it is time to action. It's time to mobilize. As healthcare community, we have a special obligation to be on the lead in this because that's actually part of our job. We need to protect life. We need to save life. We need to provide what is good for humanity, for our communities. This is an intersectional action for everything related to healthcare. Maybe Dania can, please, Dania, can you tell us more about this action, how we can get more people, what is the event or what's the day, how's it being planned? And again, the plans are not final. We will adjust the plans as we go, but at least a general theme of what we are planning to do, Dania can share it with us.
Yeah, so we're full steam in planning mode. We are going to, it's our monthly advocacy trip on the Hill in DC. This one is unique because it'll include a demonstration and a press conference. We are currently in the process of looking for US elected officials to sponsor the press conference. And our goal is to get as many on board as we can. We are thinking, we have been targeting US representatives that have signed on to Rashida Tlaib's acknowledging and recognizing the genocide as potential sponsors. We are also looking to target or have targeted the US senators that have signed on to block military aid to Israel. So we're working on that. We will have a full day of meetings. Both House and Senate is in session. So we hope to have a robust day planned. So please, in this space, our hearts break together, but we also, by the end of the time, we also mend our hearts together in this space. And a good way to take action, as I always say, it's it's the most demoralizing work ever. I won't lie about that, but I think it's the most important to confront these US policymakers. And just a reminder that supporting this apartheid genocidal state is not going to be safe for anybody. So we have to show up in numbers. This is how this idea actually came to be born, is we were challenged with, if you can show up with 1,000 healthcare workers, we will do whatever you want. And whatever challenge is given to DAG, we accept, strongly and bravely. And we really need everybody here to show up and support us. And I hope everybody was moved by having Dr. Hassam's son on the webinar. I think many of us here think about him daily, but to be confronted with, his son speaking, and I think was extremely sobering for me. So please, like I said, our hearts break, but the only way to mend our heartbreak is to take action and to be together. So please join us on April 15th.
And again, we picked the date of April 15th because in the United States, this is the tax day, April 15th. This is the day that most Americans are obligated to pay their taxes to Trump so he can give them to Netanyahu to kill more children. So we need to make a statement that no, we do not agree with this. We do not approve this. It is also done in the month of April because the month of April is the international month on the awareness and prevention of the crime of genocide. And again, as a medical community, that's an extra obligation on all of us to speak more on this month. And this is a call for all medical communities all over the world, not just in the US. DAG is leading this effort in the US, but we hope that medical communities, both in the UK, in Europe, and Canada, all over the world, do have actions and try to do some more events, some more awareness, education about the crime of genocide all over the world on this month. And we are inviting, as we said, we want this to be mainly led by healthcare, doctors, nurses, paramedics, pharmacists, dentists, even staffers in the healthcare industry, engineers in the healthcare industry, but the community and other organizations. Everyone is welcome. We want to make a statement by making it healthcare focused because uh, fortunately people still trust the healthcare more than politicians and those who benefit from wars. So it does have some leverage. We want to use our voice, our leverage, but everyone is welcome to join us in a support role. Please spread the word. Any other organization who wants to join to support in any way, shape, or form are welcome to do so. And again, numbers do have an impact. So the more people come, the more people join, the more people mobilize. Uh, it will send a stronger message. And also, the reason why we want this event to be bigger than anyone before is because this world is becoming really dangerous. It is an alarm. We are ringing the alarm or raising the alarm that this administration and this country and the ones who are handling it are taking all of us into a very dangerous place. Uh, Trump is threatening to destroy all power plants in Iran, and Iran is threatening to retaliate, destroy, and it's becoming a game that is putting all humanity and the peace of the world at risk just because a psychopath here, an immature pedophile, wants to prove his narcissistic, tendencies. This is not how the world is led. He should never been a leader. He already had more than 35 charges on him. He's a felon. He should not be in charge. And every day he's proving that he's more and more incompetent and more dangerous. And this is a call for every American. Please show up. Please do something. It's getting worse and worse and worse and more dangerous. And it's not just more dangerous to the Palestinians and to the Lebanese or the Iranians. It's going to be more dangerous to everyone. He's also pushing China to the edge. He's pushing Russia to the edge. He's pushing everyone to the edge. And all what you need is just one mistake, one misunderstanding, one misinformation here and there, and they're going to blow all our planet. People like him should not be in charge. He should be impeached. He should be taken out from office. This is a guy as immature, as impulsive, as criminal as he is. He has access to the nukes that can destroy all our humanity. We, more than any time before in history, need to mobilize and do something about it. So thank you. We have Martha. Martha, are you joining us too?
In April?
Yes.
Oh, yes. And I'm trying to gather some hordes to come from Boston.
Who else are you bringing with you?
Eileen should be coming. I've got a few emails out to my work organization, working on it.
You're bringing your son?
And sadly, no, he can't come this
No?
time. No.
Next time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any reflections? As an American, what do you feel? What should we do?
Well, it's funny that you say as an American, because these days I'm drawing on my Canadian roots. But not that I shouldn't say that. I mean, not that Canada's not complicit. It was really Dr. Sheehi, is very powerful, very powerful. Very good to hear her, and very good to see the projects. Very moving, the video with the handicapped woman. Yeah, and it's just, and the tone that you're not tone, Nidal, but the truth you're bringing forward of just such dangerous times we're in. I think is just so important. And I think about this big day in the Hill in April, and it's I can imagine people saying, well, what will that do? Well, yeah, but that's, but I think we need to do anything and everything in these moments and to come together. Can't be alone, can't solve it alone. Everyone's got to be out there in numbers and hitting the streets and hitting the hill in April. So that's my pitch for April. And, I think there's still 125 people on the webinar, and hopefully some of them will come. And, it can be daunting. The first time I went on the Hill, I'd never done it in my life before, joining Doctors Against Genocide was terrifying, but it's not. And I think if you just get on the website to JetBlue or whatever airline this afternoon or the train and get your transportation arranged, know that all you got to know is we meet at 9 at Union Station in Washington, D.C. And you will meet the most amazing people, and it will be a powerful act. And I think we really need to be doing powerful acts these days. That's my reflection.
Thank you. Thank you, Martha. So who's the biggest enemy to the United States? The biggest enemy, according to this psychopath, is Iran. But now Iran is decimated, according to him. He wiped out Iran. Now the biggest enemy to the United States are the Democrats. Imagine the leader of the United States saying that the biggest enemy of the United States are the Democrats. And as much as I despise the Democratic leaders and politicians, but the people who vote Democrats are half of the United States. We have a president who are saying that half of the people of America are enemies to America. I mean, do Republicans accept this? Does any American accept this? Should anyone stay silent in this? This guy is going unhinged. He's going completely bananas. I mean, he needs to be locked up in a psychiatric ward and needs to be treated. He's like a baby. If it doesn't get his way, he starts, smashing and breaking everything. And he's getting there. Imagine a president of a country saying that half of the country is his enemy, the enemy of that country. And if we allow this is gonna get worse and worse. And because they cannot pay for the people at the TSA at the airports, now he want to deploy ICE. Imagine yourself going to the airport and getting checked in and checked out and searched by ICE agents who are not competent, not trained to do this job, and they will treat everyone as illegal until proven otherwise. Imagine how much headache and how much trouble everyone's gonna go through with this. I mean, we need to save the world, but we need to save America too. I mean, this guy is the threat to America now. Mariam, Dr. Shtab, you haven't been here for a while, so welcome back.
Thank you.
I'll come back to you, Habib.
Especially hearing Dr. Sheehi talk about Lebanon, I've been thinking a lot about the footage we've been seeing this week. We were sharing that video of why healthcare should never be under attack. It was a very powerful video. It's only on Instagram, so I have no idea if we'd be able to show it to whoever's left on the webinar. But I was thinking about, the escalation in Lebanon and how they're not bothering to hide the fact that they're going to continue targeting the ambulances and the EMS because, Hezbollah is hiding inside the ambulances. And I was thinking, it's only been 2 years, but if you think back, you think the only people who have ever, committed perfidy or whatever that term is in the military has been Israel, right? Just 2 weeks ago, they hid inside of ambulances and went to recover the body of some Israeli fighter from 40 years ago, and in the process killed 40 Lebanese people. You hid in the ambulance. That's a war crime. You guys were the ones that dressed up as nurses and doctors and then went into a hospital and assassinated a patient in the West Bank last year. The only people we see using hospitals and ambulances and masquerading as medical personnel to commit murder are the Israelis themselves. And then to have the audacity to come out and lecture the Lebanese and say, well, when Hezbollah stops hiding their weapons or their fighters, then we'll stop bombing your healthcare facilities. It actually makes you angry really think back on the last 2.5 years and just, you know.
Dr. Habib, you have a question?
Yes, also reflecting on what Dr. Miriam was just saying, and I'm sure a lot of people here have noticed how difficult it is getting information out there, particularly in the academic literature. Of course, there is some good alternative media out there now. In the UK, we have Declassified and The Canary, and they've been very good alternatives to the BBC, which of course is just a propaganda outfit for the British government. But academia has been hardly any better. The Journal of the American Medical Association is just terrible. It's almost not even worth the attention. And there's been talk amongst comrades here in the UK about setting up alternative journals, but of course peer review is very timely and time consuming rather. And I wonder what people's thoughts are on this. I'm sure I'm not the only one to have articles and manuscripts tied up in peer review for over a year, because the existing academic architecture is just not willing to. I mean, they will eventually, but you know, if you submit a randomized controlled trial with dodgy ethics, they'll publish it within a few months. But if you submit a manuscript trying to highlight the genocidal acts of our government, they'll spend over a year peer reviewing it. I wonder if you think that setting up alternative academic journals is worth the time. I wonder what people's thoughts are on that.
I think we have to keep pushing them, and I know they have been a tool of genocide. They have been a tool of silencing, a tool of hiding the truth. Maybe some colleagues had some success with Lancet here and there, but even there, the editorial board is still terrible, and the other ones, it's even worse. And I really think for a long time I've been thinking that we really need to start our own journals and our own boards, because these institutions, the existing institutions, including the medical journals, including the medical association societies, they have been tools of genocide. They are the one who enabled it because they never allowed the truth to be out there. And it is time, while we're continue to push against them, while we continue to expose them, to develop our own institutions that have more legitimacy, that have more integrity, that are open to publish what you know, what the truth is and what real medicine is, because we know that the New England Journal of Medicine apologized for their role in the slavery 100 years after the fact, and they tried to write an article and apologize about their role and complicity in the Holocaust 75 years after the fact. So they have been known to be tools of the colonialism, imperialism, and genocide for a long time, and apologizing for it after the fact does not clear your history, does not clear your conscience. Justice should be done in time. The truth should be shared in time. Doing it centuries or decades after the fact is only performative, and it's only something they use to gain legitimacy. If you go on the American Medical Association, if you go on their, you know, rules of ethics and all these, they have all these beautiful things, their rules of ethics, but none of them is being practiced. None of them is being practiced. They never stood on the right side of history when it mattered. I don't care about what they say, you know, 100 years from now, but when it mattered, they never took the right decision, the right ethical and moral decision. That's why they should be irrelevant. They should be thrown in the dustbin of history, all of them. Every single institution that exists today, from small to large, that continue to be silent in genocide, has been a sort of genocide, whether in medicine, whether in literature, whether in the tech industry, whether economics. As Albanese mentioned, these are all the economy of genocide, the narrative of genocide, the PR of genocide. That, you know, the mainstream media is what dehumanized you for how you look like, dehumanized me for how I look like. It took away our truth because we don't speak English or we have an accent. You have to have a special color, special shape, special accent for your truth to matter. Everyone else, their truth doesn't matter as much, if at all. These are all calculated things. These are all colonialist structures that continue to this day, but under disguise of performative DEI programs and all these things. But none of them, none of it is true. None of it is real. I think Maribeth can help us, can talk more about that. She's an expert on DEI. No, I'm just joking. Okay, your reflection. Do you have anything to say on this?
What, me? About
Yes.
DEI?
No, not DEI, and about the, you know, the tools and institutions and the economy of
Publications.
genocide. Yeah.
Oh, well, I was thinking about my own research I'm working on that I have to finish my abstract, write up, and submit as like the final hurdle to graduation. And when you know the racism toolkit, you can potentially weaponize that in advancing a further issue, but then you're also participating in it. So it has to really be, you know, considered which way do you want to go. And the topic I'm researching is if U.S. foreign aid has an impact on the low birth weight percentage of the population receiving the aid and the surrounding populations. Specifically, it started at, could we see a relationship and in what direction between the foreign aid that the U.S. gives to Israel and the amount of low birth weight infants in Gaza? And even submitting my proposal, Karama was a bit concerned that my opening paragraph for my proposal was a bit too aggressive. And I was just reading it here, like U.S. foreign aid is a substantial soft power tool, directly and indirectly affecting the lives of millions across the globe in support of U.S. national goals. It's not in support of people. And then you have to wonder, you know, when Nadal is talking about like the greatest enemy of the United States, what does that actually mean? To be an enemy of the United States? Is it against the people of the United States that it makes us as human beings unsafe? Or is it against the United States as an organization? Because it's kind of the same rhetorical tricks that Israel would use and that historically any state has used to justify genocide. We have to genocide to keep ourselves safe. And it doesn't mean keeping the people safe. It means keeping the organization safe and those who are in control of it. But as I continue to finely tune this research, I wonder also too, with getting publication, is the name Mary Brownlee a Trojan horse that will get something in that maybe other people can't, just based on the stereotypes and implicit bias against certain names? Not to mention, I have my at-home legal counsel, who at this point I'm going to have to give third or fourth author credit to, my spouse, Ben Brownlee. So, and he's an attorney. So we have like a doctor and an attorney writing this paper together with very waspy names. We will see, inshallah.
Mary Beth, I just wanted you to graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Dr. Mary Beth, okay?
right? Soon.
Now that you're
Qariban,
graduated,
inshallah.
go crazy. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Yeah.
So open questions if anyone wants, like, what is an enemy of? Also, we'll mention the U.S.
Actually, don't call it an organization. Call it a regime, please. A
regime. Right, let's be
regime
fair.
of psychopaths and
that's fair.
pedophiles. And it's
No,
not an
psychopath, you don't get
organization.
published. You get their lawyers writing to you.
Yeah.
Defamation.
Well, and
Yeah.
the U.S. military, the Army oath is to protect the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yeah.
If
So they are enemies of the Constitution too.
they are enemies of the Constitution.
Okay, guys, can everyone unmute, please? Everyone unmute. We have a special guest. Dr. Ashraf Abdulaziz is back home, and we need a lot of clap. Alhamdulillah على السلامة. كل عام وانتم بخير. Thank you.
الله
Thank you. Thank
يسلمكم
you.
الله يسلمكم
أهلا وسهلا دكتور
thank you
أشرف.
very much
Thank
thank
you.
you اهلا بيك اهلا بيك
منور
دكتور
منور
نضال.
يا راجل منور.
الله يخليك تنورك الله
جاي معك
يخليك
ريحة الحبايب
thank you
كمان.
very much
الله
الله
يخليك. أهلا وسهلا.
يخليك الله
Dr.
يخليك
Ashraf is
تسلم
back from Gaza after
Oh,
some
Dr.
delay
Ashraf.
and some headaches. So thank you. كل عام وانت بخير وعيد
وانت
مبارك.
بالصحة
I'm glad
والسلامة
you were able to celebrate the Eid with your family. And
الحمد
thank you for
لله
your sacrifice. Alhamdulillah على السلامة. And
الله
we're happy to
يسلمك
hear from you and see you back home and safe. And please share with us what happened. How are the rest of the team, our colleagues? Your colleagues are okay? Is everyone still stuck there? What's happening?
No الحمد لله يعني after a week of delay we were able to go out and thank you everybody for your help get us out especially Dr. Nadal, Dania, that was very helpful. I think we needed to put some pressure and my gut feeling is that the Israeli government was playing a psychological game with us. So first of all, we were supposed to leave on March 10th as a group, and then they delayed it. They said, no, it's going to be March 15th. And then after we changed our tickets and everything, they came back and said, no, March 17th. So we knew that this can go on for a while. And I think that they were trying to discourage us from going back. This is my gut feeling. I can't support that with anything. Of course, they were using like security reasons, saying that that was because of security concerns. It was not any different when we came out. We came out on March 17th. The missiles were still going on. Before we left, the Sunday before we left, they allow, or the Sunday before that, they allowed another group to leave. So it was just, I think they were trying to give us some uncertainty, and not that we were like really anxious about going out, because I think this was the best trip of my life. But our families were worried. Our kids were worried, our friends were worried that we may get stuck over there for a long period of time. So that was our main concern. But I mean, for us, it was a privilege and a pleasure to work side by side with the best doctors in the world. I can't tell you like how many major cases I have done with surgeons in Gaza with minimal equipments and supplies over there. I took care, I'm an anesthesiologist for those who don't know me. So I took care of patients ranging in age from 1 day old to 99 years old. And it was like congenital anomalies, surgical, that needed surgical fixation, to abdominal aortic aneurysm, to brain tumors, to spinal tumors, to you name it, like major surgeries. And I have to admit that they have the best surgeons in the world. Their 3 neurosurgeons are amazing, as well as all the other surgeons, the vascular surgeon and the general surgeons as well. Everybody was amazing, pediatric surgeons. And over there, the system chaotic a little bit, but is so efficient at the meantime. And I think people don't waste time on any nonsense. I mean, I realize that in our practice here in the US, we waste time on things that are not really of utmost necessity. Over there, they don't do that. The patient come to the door, and 5 minutes later, they are in the OR, they are asleep, the surgeons, they are prepping, the surgeons are going on, and the surgery is going on, and they do great. I mean, I did a patient with the spinal meningioma. The surgeon took out the meningioma. Patient came paraplegic, went home after 3 days walking. So that's just one example of how efficient and how good they are. What amazes me is the kind of optimism the people have over there. I mean, I didn't understand that, but it was explained to me, but by several people, actually, not only one person, is that they said, what happened, happened. We don't think about the past. And this is something that's coming from people who lost, all of them lost family members and friends. Like one of them lost 21 family members in one day. We don't worry about the future. The only thing we are concerned about is to go on with our life, our daily life. And let me give you how their daily life goes on in Gaza. So they wake up in a tent, which is very cold in the winter, very hot in the summertime. If it rains, it becomes flooded, so they have to take out the water outside. And then for an hour, they stand in line to fill up the containers with water. And then another hour to use the bathroom, which is a portable restroom for 100 families. And then they spend another hour looking for wood or plastic bottles or something to use it for fire to cook on it. And then if they miss the bus that's coming from the hospital, and I'm talking here about doctors, I'm talking about doctors and nurses and healthcare providers, I'm talking about the heads of departments living in tents over there. This is their daily life. So everybody has to wait for the bus that comes from the hospital, and then it takes them to the hospital probably 20, 30 minutes. But if they miss the bus for any reason, it would take them like 3.5 hours to 4 hours to get to the hospital, because they have to use either a cart pulled by a donkey or a broken car or you name it. I mean, something very primitive. They come to the hospital and they are ready to work after all of that. And yeah, I mean, there have been some deficiency, but you can't blame anybody if there is any deficiency or lacking or slacking or anything, because I mean, you understand that what these people go through it's unhuman. I mean, the way they do it, but they are still doing it. And the majority of the people, they have a smile on their face. They do this with a smile on their face. And they laugh and they crack jokes and they talk about things that happened in the past as normal. And while we were there, we had the drones like buzzing over our heads all the time, almost all the time. And we can hear bombing far away, but also there had been like on one day, there was a tent that bombed next to with 4 people being killed. There was a guy who was walking with his 4-year-old daughter that got bombed as well. He died. The daughter came to the hospital with shrapnels in her belly. They had to remove a large part of the small bowel, injuries to the liver, to the spleen, but she didn't make it, unfortunately. Another day, there was a car with 9 young guys that got bombed. All of them got killed. So what kind of ceasefire is that? I mean, there is no ceasefire over there. And what are they bombing, actually? I mean, we hear the bombing far away, probably in Rafah or somewhere. I was in Khan Yunis, which is in the middle section, for those who don't know the geography of Gaza. So Rafah is in the south, next to the border with Egypt. And this is like a ghost city. Nothing is there. Everything is destroyed, as if there was an atomic bomb that went through the city. So there isn't a building that's standing, maybe very few that are like, used to be like, I don't know, maybe a hospital or a school or something, but all the residential buildings are gone and nobody is, it's a ghost city because none of the Palestinians are allowed to be there. And then you take the bus, you go next to the shore, next to the Mediterranean, and you go for a few miles before you start seeing the tents. And then you see tents throughout the street that you are going through. We were going with the United Nations convoy in a bus, the medical staff. So we went through Karm Abu Salem. We went from Jordan. Of course, we couldn't get from Egypt because Rafah border is closed. But we went from Karm Abu Salem and we took the Mediterranean. So we went through Rafah, the Philadelphia corridor, and then we took the street that went all the way through the Mediterranean, and you find like torn tents where people are living there, but some of these tents you have like someone who's selling vegetables, you have a barber shop, you have so people are trying to make a living and to live, like trying to get to some sort of normalcy in this situation, which is far away from being anything close to be normal. Of course, there are no schools for kids now, so none of the kids go to school. So the kids are all the time in the streets, either playing or fighting with each other. A lot of them are bare feet. You can tell that they didn't take a shower for weeks. It's very I don't want to say miserable, but it's very sad situation. It's a very sad situation to see that. But again, it amazes you when you talk to these people, even to those kids. They have a smile on their face. With everything they're going through, they have a smile on their face. They were chasing us in the streets. Every time we go out of the hospital, they would be chasing us, calling us they knew us by name, so they would call us Ashraf, Ashraf, or Jess, or they would call us by names. They became friends with us. Chocolate, halawiyat, halawiyat. And I mean, they were so cute. They were so cute, those kids. I mean, these were the cutest kids. And I mean, I had a young lady, 19-year-old, who came for surgery. She had a fracture on her left leg. Of course, they do like external fixation. And when we have external fixator, they have to go to the surgery for several times. This young lady, 19-year-old, very sweet young lady, had 50 plus surgeries. Her tent was bombed on October 1st, 2025. And she had an above knee amputation on the right side. And she came and she was very calm. She wasn't crying. She had like this kind of serenity and calmness and peacefulness on her face. And while we were doing the surgery, while I was putting her to sleep, someone mentioned that she passed her high school. She got her high school diploma with 91%. It's like she wasn't in the 95th percentile. That tells you how these people, despite of the injuries, despite of the living condition, they still have hope and they are looking forward for a better future for themselves and for their country. It's amazing. The experience was amazing. This is the best trip I ever had in my life. And I will never forget that. I will never forget those people that I worked with. I will never forget the people that we made friends with. I never forget the group that I went with, and even the other delegations that were there. We were in Nasser Hospital. We were about 6, maybe 20 physicians from different nationalities: Americans, British, Australia, New Zealand, Spanish, Greek. What else? Yeah, I think these were mostly there were Norwegians. They were taking care of the pain clinic, but it was an amazing experience. I mean, yeah, it was very, very moving and amazing experience. And of course, I mean, on top of that, I had to meet Dr. Ahmed Al-Farra in person.
Yeah.
And that was the best thing. He was so generous. I mean, I can't tell how generous he is. I mean, he invited me for iftar like 5 times. I was so embarrassed by, yeah, I mean, he's so sweet. And I got to meet Rayyan and Muhammad, his sons, and a lot of the staff that we see on deck. So I met them in person, and it was a privilege and a pleasure to be with them. And finally, we made it back home. So we went through Karam Abu Salim again. We went through the West Bank, and then we went to Amman, and we took the airplane and came back home. So that's in a nutshell. That's that's my
Wow.
story. Yeah, yeah. So,
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Abdul Salam. Thank you.
Allah يسلمك الله يسلمك
نور Dr. Ashraf.
الله يخليك حبيبي الله
What you
يخليك.
described is so profound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Despite
Yeah,
all
when
the
you see it firsthand, it's nothing like when you see it on TV or in the media or in social media. It's completely different. When you live among these people, you feel how strong they are, but how nice they are as well, and how like they have the azima, they have the strength to continue. And they I mean, I'm telling you, not for a single minute when I was there, I felt that I was afraid or scared or any of that stuff. And that's not because I'm a courageous person. I hope I am, but that's because I was getting the positive energy from these people. They were never afraid of any bombings going around or any of the things. I mean, I know that, I mean, they sent me that after we left, the day after we left, the hospital itself had been, there had been shooting across the hospital after we left. So, which we haven't witnessed while we were there. But still life is going. And when you live over there, it's kind of a weird feeling when they told us that we're gonna be postponed and we're not gonna be out on time. When you feel that you don't have the freedom of moving, of having this is a human right. I mean, we don't appreciate that because we are always free to go wherever we want to go. But these people, they didn't have this luxury for years, for 20 years, maybe longer than that. They are living in an open prison. Like the border with Egypt, they have like 5 different barriers. I mean, like if you pass through one of them, you can't do it because it's so high, but they have like, why? Why would you have like 5 different barriers between the borders? Like, and of course the same thing on the Israeli side as well. But it's an experience that I mean, you won't appreciate it until you live through it, and it's a great experience.
Dr. Ashraf, it's really you are the perfect person to go to Gaza. I mean, the way
It's amazing, Dr. Ashraf.
you appreciate. Wow. الحمد لله
Yeah.
الحمد لله
الحمد
انك
لله الحمد لله.
انك انبسطت وانك ما يعني you felt comfortable and you felt secure. This is not to be taken
I felt, I'm telling you,
very hard.
Karama, I felt very peaceful there.
ما شاء الله.
Yeah, it was very peaceful. It was a very
The
peaceful
blessing from God, you know.
feeling. And I think part of it also is the group that I was with. I mean, we built a relationship. We became like a family over there. And you can imagine, I mean, people leaving their works and their families and everything and going to Gaza. I mean, these are good people. These are really good people. So it was an amazing experience meeting the people in Gaza the doctors, the nurses, even the people who we had security all the time that were staying with us in residence.
Martha, do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to say to Dr. Ashraf before you leave?
Yeah, I just want to say something, Dr. Ashraf.
Yeah, no, can we go with Martha, please? Because she's
Okay,
about
sorry.
to leave. Then we
Okay.
come back to you, Dr. Sui. Martha.
Oh, I'm just so happy to see you and hear about your experience, Ashra. It's just, I was so excited to hear you were going, and I've been kind of following you all along. I was getting a little worried by moments, but welcome back and thank you for sharing that. I'm so happy to see you.
You're making all of us
thank you,
jealous.
Martha.
You're making
Thank
all
you.
of us proud, but
Yeah.
jealous also.
Jealous, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Dr. Sui.
No. I really am so happy hearing from Dr. Ashraf. It's so good to hear from him. Listen, I've scanned my book into PDF, okay, and compress it. But how do I send it to Dr. Alfara? Because last
You
week,
can send it on WhatsApp. I think you can.
We will share it. We'll help.
or maybe you just put it on your website so anybody can.
Yeah.
Okay. I send it to.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So anybody from this group can just look at it. The quality is not very great because we have compressed more than 200 megabytes to 19, okay? But it's not too bad.
Okay.
I think
thank you, Dr.
Maisa is
Sui.
roaming the roads of Havana now, trying to look for her phone. And once she's back, inshallah, she will help us. We'll put it on the website, your book, and we will make it accessible to everyone. And we will make sure to share it with Dr. Al-Farra too, inshallah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So Dr. Habib, تفضل Dr. Habib, you were in Gaza too.
Well, I just wanted to share a very brief story with a family that I've been in contact with for about 18 months, and I managed to meet with them while I was in Gaza a few times. And so they were from Jabalia, and of course Jabalia was even more totally destroyed than Rafah was. And so he lost multiple members of his family as well. His brother was a journalist who was assassinated. And there's a level of courage that I find it very difficult to even comprehend. So he was determined to get back to his old house, even though it's east of the Yellow Line. And he managed to get there and retrieve some of his old possessions from Jabalia. And one of the stories he told me, which I thought it was a rumor, and I'd heard it from other people in Gaza while I was there, and he said it's true, that the Israelis have set up drone guns that can recognize if a camera lens has been turned on and will then automatically shoot if there's a camera lens that's been activated. And so, and yet he still managed to go to his house, and from an enclosed space within the house, he made a video of what he'd found. And there's a level of courage that I just find it's really quite breathtaking. And you're quite right. At no point in I was there for over a month. There is a level of kindness and hospitality that I've never encountered before in any of the other countries I've visited.
Okay, guys, we are joined by Maisa from Cuba, and their internet is terrible. Let's hear from her a few minutes. There is a Gaza doctor there too, joining her. And they're going to be with us just a few minutes before the blackout, because the United States sanctions in Cuba is actually putting the whole country under miserable situation. They don't have power. The internet connection is very spotty. تفضل Maisa, before we lose you.
Okay, so Viva Cuba. We are here in a beautiful place in Havana, showing solidarity to the Cuban people. After enduring years and years of sanctions, lately there have been fuel shortages, and actually since yesterday we've been in blackout. So basically the entire 10 million people, Cubans, have been living under ridiculous conditions. We are and lucky to be in a hotel that has a generator, but most people, they have absolutely no power. So very, very honored to have met Murid. Murid is an orthopedic resident in Cuba who's been here for the last 9 years, and he has just joined us to share his experience. And there's also a film that talks about his journey called From Gaza to Cuba. I would encourage everybody to check it out on YouTube. And on to you, Murid.
مرحبا.
بالعربي. He's going to speak in Arabic, Nidal, if you don't mind translating, or I'm happy to translate as well.
مرحبا، شكرا يعني على الاستضافة في هذا اللقاء. أنا مريد طالب طب من غزة، تخرجت من هون من كوبا. حاليا بعمل اختصاص جراحة عظام. يعني نحكي على بشكل عام عن الوضع في غزة. أكيد في دكاترة كتير حكوا عن الوضع في غزة، هم أدرى، هم موجودين هناك. بصفة إنه أنا من غزة طبعا الوضع كتير صعب. يعني بتواصل مع أهلي خصوصا في القطاع الصحي، في المستشفيات كتير الوضع صعب. والناس كيف إنهم الوضع الصحي خصوصا لأصحاب الأمراض المزمنة وأصحاب غسيل الكلى، هذول الناس كتير يعني بيعانوا في سبب ويلات الحرب. كمان هون في كوبا يعني حاليا أنا بشتغل في مستشفيات في كوبا أو بدرس في مستشفيات كوبا. الوضع صعب جدا هون في كوبا. يعني المستشفيات موجودة بس ما في داخلها أي أدوية. بدك تترجم؟
بدكم ترجموا؟ لا ترجم.
ترجمي.
Okay. So Murid is a medical student. He's actually doing his residency in orthopedic surgery here in Cuba. He's been here since 9 years. He has not been able to go back to Gaza, as you can imagine. He has been, his family is still in Gaza. His family is actually from El Brej camp in the middle of Gaza. He lost 6 of his cousins. I'm translating things that you mentioned earlier. 6 of his cousins during this genocide in one go, and obviously his family has been displaced and they currently live in tents. So he's saying that he's not going to share too much about the situation in Gaza because we already have those contacts in Gaza. However, in Cuba as well as Gaza, the sanctions have significantly impacted the healthcare system. Hospitals have shortage of medicine, shortage of equipment, shortage of a lot of things. And then lately with this illegal embargo, especially on fuel, you can only imagine like what a blackout over 10 million people does. Just, cars can't get fuel, hospitals can't get electricity, unless they have generators. If you're very sick and you need to be taken to the hospital, it's really, really, really difficult to reach because there's just no fuel and there's no access to transportation. Trying to get from one place to another is a challenge. Trying to get medication is a challenge, and it's quite difficult.
وكمان على يعني مستشفى انه المستشفيات انه احنا كاطباء بسبب الوضع الاقتصادي في البلد والتضخم اللي صار. قديما يعني راتب الدكتور كان ما يقارب ب 30 ل 40 دولار في الشهر. يعني كان يعني ممكن منيح نوعا ما مستوى معيشي في هاي البلد. بس بعد كوفيد وبعد الحصار الامريكي اللي صار زياده، وضع البلد صار كتير صعب جدا. صار في غلاء معيشي كتير يعني جدا، يعني فوق ال 400% تضخم صار. فراتب الدكتور يعني بطل يكفي ان تشتري كيلو رز مع جنينة زيت فقط. يعني فقط هذا راتب الدكتور. يعني فكتير من الدكاترة تركوا شغلهم كأطباء ويبحثوا عن العمل، او انه يشتغل كطبيب جزء من النهار وباقي النهار يشتغل في مطاعم او يشتغل سواق تاكسي او يشتغل على موتوسيكل يوصل الناس. فهذا برضه بيعمل ضغط على النظام الصحي، انه الطبيب ما بيكون متاح بشكل كامل انه للمرضى الخاصين فيه.
ترجم. So so many things can be said about the sanctions. He is talking about the impact on these sanctions on the healthcare system, specifically on the situation with doctors. Not only because of sanctions, but just like every other country in the world, post-COVID, with the inflation, prices have become so expensive. Supplies have become very limited. And for example, what used to be a decent salary for a doctor is not nearly sufficient today. And you can only buy like 1 kilogram of like rice and then some oil. So, you know, from a public health perspective, the impact on the health of the population is very bad. A lot of doctors have to get second and third jobs, you know, working in restaurants or driving, you know, taxis or their own personal vehicles to make up this deficit, which also means that the access to healthcare providers and doctors have been limited because, you know, doctors simply cannot afford to function as doctors anymore. So, and all of this is as a result of obviously the illegal sanctions and the embargo on Cuba that's been going on for many years.
ففي المستشفيات يعني بنوصل لمراحل انه بيجي المريض، احنا بنكون عارفين التشخيص وعارفين كل شيء، بس ما في يعني الكلمة اللي ممكن بتوجع كطبيب انه انت عارف كيف بدك تعالج هذا المريض، بس انه ما عندك الدواء او مش موجود الدواء انه تقول له اشرب هذا الدواء. فبتضطر انه تدور اي طرق ثانية انه تحاول تخفف من اعراض هذا المريض، مع انه ممكن دواء يشفيه، بس انت بتحاول تدور على طرق ثانية تخفف وجعه، بس لانه ما عندك او مش متوفر الدواء اللي هو يشفي هذا المريض. غير هيك اوكي.
One of the things that are really painful, especially for a doctor or a healthcare provider, is, you know, you see a patient and you actually know what's wrong. You know the diagnosis very well. However, you cannot even prescribe medication because the medication is simply not there. So this is like a moral injury to every doctor, every healthcare provider, because you know what needs to be done and you know the solution can be sometimes very simple, as simple as prescribing medication, but the medication does not exist. And so this is really a painful daily experience that doctors in Cuba are facing today.
غير هيك انه بسبب نقص المواد اللي بنستخدمها، يعني مثلا الجلافز احنا كطبيب بنستخدمها، تخيلوا انه هاي الجلافز بعد ما نستخدمها مع مريض، يعني احنا ما بنحطها في الزبالة، بنحطها في مكان خاص عشان ننظفها تاني ونستخدمها لمريض ثاني. يعني نفس الجلافز يستخدم اكثر من مره مع اكثر من مريض، بس بعد ما يتنظف لانه ما في مش موجود فيه جلافز. طبعا ادوات ثانيه نفس الشيء، الغرز. يعني انا بحكي على خبره شخصيه، انه احيانا ما بنلاقي كيف نغرز المريض، او كانه بندرس هلا انا بعمل جراحه عظام، ما في جبس، يعني بيكون مريض مكسور بس انت ما عندك الجبس عشان تحط له الجبس، يعني اللي هو تجبر رجل المريض، فبنضطر نحط له زي الشاش انه مع كرتون او خشب عشان انه يعني نحاول انه نعمل انموفوليشن، ما تتحرك
Immobilization. Okay, so this is actually really gives me flashbacks from Gaza, and very similar to what the doctors in Gaza are facing today. He's saying that they are forced to reuse the gloves, and instead of like the gloves being disposable, they have to clean them and reuse them for several patients because there's not enough gloves to go around. He's also saying that even sometimes sutures are not available, like the materials that you need to make to suture a wound, especially for surgeons, is not available. If you see a patient who's got a fracture, sometimes you don't have the material to make a cast. So they are reverting to very old methods of maybe like a piece of wood or just like wrapping it with gauze or other material because you simply do not have the supplies to properly treat patients.
فهذا هو الوضع العام تقريبا اللي بنعاني احنا كاطباء هون في كوبا. طبعا على مستوى اخر انه العمليات شبه كامله واقفه، في عمليات كثيره. يعني صراحه على مستوى برضه تجربه شخصيه كاطفال، انه حاليا بعمل زي روتاسيون او روتيشن مع في قسم الاطفال في جراحه العظام. فالاطفال بكون عندهم يعني من ينولدوا بكون عندهم آه، في عندهم مشكله في العظام، او انه لازم نعمل لهم عمليه تعديل، مش عارف الا بالعربي مش راضي تطلع معي. فانه النظام انه نعدل ممكن الرجل تاعتهم او العمود الفقري. فهاي العمليات بتحسن حياتهم لقدام. فاحنا حاليا ما بنقدر نعمل هاي العمليات لهدول الاطفال، لانه ما بنقدر نعملها. فالطفل يعني راح تصير حياته صعبة جدا لقدام بس يكبر، لانه حيكون صعوبة جدا نعمل له هاي العملية بس يكبر. فيعني كان ممكن نتفادى هاي المشاكل لقدام انه نعمل له العملية وهي صغير، بس ما بنقدر لانه بسبب الوضع، بسبب الحصار هسه البترول اللي مش متوفر، ما في كهرباء، ما في معدات طبية. يعني المعدات اللي بنستخدمها في الجراحة كتير شحيحة. يعني احنا بنحاول يعني البرغي اللي بنستخدمه عشان نثبت العظام، هذا البرغي بعد ما ينشفي مريض بناخده من نفس المريض وبنعمل له تعقيم وبنحطه في مريض ثاني. يعني حتى في بعض المرضى اللي بتموت احيانا بناخذ منهم البراغي، نفك منهم البراغي هاي اللي بنستخدمها عشان نستخدمها مع مرضى ثانيه. الوضع كثير مأساوي.
Okay, this is really it really does sound very dystopian, like Gaza. Like honestly, like he's currently doing a rotation in the pediatric orthopedic departments, and he's saying that a lot of these children come with like congenital, deformities that can be fixed very easily as children. But because of the fuel shortage, the power outages, and the extreme severe lack of supplies, they're not able to do these surgeries effectively. And therefore, you can only imagine the trajectory of these children as they grow older. It's going to affect their life on the long run. So there's like a whole cohort of children, I guess, that is being affected by this. And this is like being ongoing for a long time. He's saying that even like a surgical pin that you would use like to in orthopedic surgery, it's also being reused. So after a fracture is healed, the doctors are reusing the same pin with different doctors. Some patients die, so they end up like taking these pins and reusing them. So it's really, this is like a significant public health catastrophe that is happening in Cuba. And just being here myself, the last 3 days, just experiencing the blackout is something else. Like the entire city is completely dark. And if you don't have power, you don't have pumps to pump water, so you don't have running water. I mean, the impact is just kind of cascades across all layers within the society. And then in addition to that, you have a very, people are poor. There's just not enough money in this country. So it's so cruel. It's so cruel what this embargo is doing to the people.
What can we do?
شو ممكن نعمل؟ كيف ممكن نساعد؟
بالنسبة للمساعدة، هو المساعدة انه بالادوات الطبية اللي ممكن تقدموها، الانتيبيوتيك، المضادات الحيوية، معدات، جلافز، غرز، شاش، شغلات زي هيك. يعني تحاولوا انه ما بقى يعني خلال، يعني مش كل فترة وفترة، لانه يعني صراحة يعني خلينا نقول زي كومبوي كوبا بتصير مرة في فترات كثيرة. فلازم يعني بشكل دوري يكون في مساعدات لكوبا، لأن الحكومة الكوبية مش قادرة توفر هذا الشيء. يعني أنا بقول لك قبل كوفيد، حتى خلال الحصار قبل ما يجي ترامب ويشدد الحصار على كوبا، كوبا كانت تنتج 90% من أدويتها. يعني كوبا نفسها كانت تنتج كل شيء خصوصا لها. يعني كان النظام الصحي كان كتير ممتاز قبل كوفيد. العمليات يعني كانت عمل العمليات مجانا بشكل كامل، وكل شيء كان متوفر لانه كل شيء كانت تنتجه كوبا. تعمله هي تجيب المواد الاوليه وتنتج كوبا، تنتج كل الادويه كل شيء. بس من ترامب شدد الحصار في اول ولايه له، شدد الحصار على كوبا، فكان صعب جدا الحكومه تجيب هاي المواد الاوليه وتنتجها. فكتير ادويه بطلت كوبا تقدر تنتجها، وخصوصا المضادات الحيويه واللقاحات. فزي ما حكيت، المساعدة بتصير عن طريق هاي الشغلات، أو حتى كمان ممكن تكون على النظام الصحي، وكمان ممكن يكون زي نظام مساعدات مالية ممكن للدكاترة أو للشعب الكوبي بشكل خاص، لأنه الغلاء المعيشي هون، الأكل الشرب كتير كتير غالي. يعني تخيلي، أوكي، على تجربة شخصية برضو عني من 9 سنين هون. أنا كنت أعيش هون، كنت أحكي مع ميسا، كنت أعيش $70 من كثر ما كانت البلد غالية، من كثر ما كانت البلد رخيصة. $70 بس. هسا تخيل التضخم اللي صار، $300 $400 بطلت توفي، ما بتكفي. $300 يعني تخيل من 70 ل $300 قديش صار التضخم، يعني نسبة كبيرة التضخم صار. يعني الأكل بشكل كتير 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 صار كتير غالي. يعني كرتونة البيض هون كانت تكلف $1، هلا كرتونة البيض تكلف 15 و$20. يعني كتير كتير، يعني كتير صعب. الناس هسه تشتري البيض بالوحدة، والبيضة واحدة، لأنه كتير غالي، غالي جدا. فهذا هو الوضع بشكل عام هون.
Okay, so help can be done in many forms. Obviously, like I'm gonna add to what he said, that advocacy to end this illegal siege is definitely important and paramount. However, in the meantime, until the siege is lifted, Cuba has shortage pretty much in everything. Any kind of medication you can think of, surgical supplies, all these things are missing. And so, arranging for solidarity convoys that are more than once a year, because like obviously we're here with a massive delegation from several organizations that are here to deliver aid. But once a year, it's just simply not going to be enough. So there has to be a thought about like what consistent supply, what consistent support would look like. Again, medication, equipment and supplies. Also financial support to the people, because the inflation has been increasingly challenging. So he's been here for the last 9 years. He used to be able to live comfortably on $70 a month. Now $300 a month is not even, cutting it. So the inflation has led to significant increase in the cost of living, but also like the income has not actually corresponded with the same kind of inflation. And the other thing is who's saying that pre-COVID, Cuba was pretty much 90% self-sufficient. They produced their own medications, but now they can't even have access to the raw material, the raw supplies to create medication and vaccines. So they do rely heavily on external support. So, you name it, anything you can think of is probably needed in Cuba. But most importantly, it has to be a consistent and concerted effort, not just once a year, symbolic acts of solidarity. Now I have to feed this young man because he's been speaking and doing all sorts of amazing advocacy with the delegation. So if you don't have any other questions, I'm gonna
يعني يا فهذا انا حكيت بشكل عام. اي سؤال يعني تفضل.
مريد, when was the last time you ate مقلوبي؟
امتى اخر مرة اكلت مقلوبة؟
من 9 سنين.
ميسا, make him مقلوبي then.
I'm gonna okay.
Even Dr. أحمد الفرة has مقلوبي. بعدين معكم.
والله يعني انا شو يعني انا شيء بشكل عام الاكل العربي تقريبا فقدته يعني نوعا ما، لانه صعب جدا هون. ما في جاليه عربيه كبيره هون عشان تلاقي انه الاكل العربي متوفر. في مطعم عربي واحد هون بس مش الاكل العربي، يعني هو اللبناني بس.
I'll tell you what, Nidal, I have a better proposal. Next time we bring a delegation from DAG, and we will make sure that we bring the supplies, and we will make big matlube for. There's 250 Palestinian students here, by the way. 250 Palestinian students that are getting education for free because of the Cuban government solidarity with the Palestinians. And so it's really like quite something to see the amount of solidarity that's coming from Cuba, and at the same time how hard it has been for everybody to sustain themselves. So you're just confronted with so many emotions being here, and the Cuban people are just amazing people.
Before, yeah, تفضل.
يعني عشان اعتقد يمكن حكت انه هو عن الدوكيومنتري، يعني الفيلم الوثائقي اللي هو بيحكي بشكل عام عن تضامن كوبا مع الشعب الفلسطيني. شو بيحكي يعني شو وضع العيشه هون في كوبا، خصوصا برضه شو نظام كيف النظام الصحي. يعني الفيلم يعني كتير جيد. يعني هو انا كنت عملت الفيلم، بس هو بشكل عام بيحكي عن كل شاب فلسطيني اجى على كوبا عشان يدرس طب مجانا او كوبا ساعدته. فالفيلم اسمه From Gaza to Cuba
and it's on YouTube.
in YouTube. From Gaza to Cuba موجود. ويعني بنصح كتير اللي موجودين معنا انه يشوفوه، لانه كتير يعني انا عملته بعد 7 بعد 7 اكتوبر عملته، لانه كان من الضروري حد يحكي شو بصير او كيف احنا كطلاب فلسطينيين عايشين هون في كوبا، في بلد تدعمنا، وبرضه كوبا تحت الحصار وبتدعمنا.
It's really quite something. One last thing I want to say, and I think John probably will talk about it in the next webinar. So we went to a family clinic yesterday in Havana. And so we were hosted by this amazing family physician. And it was so remarkable to see how medicine is done in Cuba. It's community-based. The doctor lives on the second floor. The clinic is on the first floor. It's a true community-based medicine in the sense that she knows all the families. They all know her. She is very, very, very intimately connected to the community. And obviously, medicine is free. It's not done for profit. And it was a really, really remarkable experience to see how family medicine is truly family medicine. It's based on understanding the community, being close to the community, and not focused on profit. With the shortage in medication, the doctors, because they have such wisdom and they're so, they're indigenous doctors, right? That they're the part of the community, they're of the community. They have resorted to using, herbs and alternative medicine because they know this from just, traditional wisdom. So the creativity, the innovation, just the beautiful spirit of these doctors is quite something and quite remarkable. And John was fascinated by the examination table that looked so shiny and well used. It's been used for many, many years. You just walk in and you feel, wow, this is what medicine should look like. It is really beautiful to see. So I wanted to share that, and I'm sure John will share more next week. خلاص؟
أي سؤال يعني اللي بدك إياه.
اسمع, before you go, I know you have to go. Thank you for this testimony. شكرا يا مريد مشاركتك. I want to read this. This is the Article 2 of the Genocide Convention. What is happening in Cuba is not sanctions, is not just embargo. Inflicting conditions of life calculated to bring about the physical destruction of a group, in whole or in part, is recognized as an act of genocide under the Article 2 of the 1948 Genocide Convention that the United States signed to it. It is defined as a deliberate effort to destroy a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group through indirect systemic means. So what the United States is committing on Cuba is a genocide. It's not just sanctions. It's not just embargo. Let's not give it the pretense that this is legal or this is, this is, a kosher intervention. This is an act of genocide on the people of Cuba. And again, once a genocide there, always a genocide there. We need to call it as such. And this is a call for everyone here in the United States to hold your officials and your government accountable to make them stop committing these crimes against innocent people of Cuba. As Maisa mentioned and shared last week, there are 500,000 human beings dying every year all over the world directly because of the unilateral sanction of the United States government against many countries over the world. There is almost like 20, 30 countries in the world.
40 people, 40 countries,
40
active sanctions right now.
So that is not sanctions. These are crimes, and they're costing lives. They're costing lives. People, the children that Maureen mentioned that are gonna die because they are not getting their surgeries. The patients are gonna die because they're not getting their medications. The children are gonna grow up with permanent disabilities because they did not get a simple procedure done. when they were young, when they needed it. These are all crimes against humanity. These are acts of genocide. These are not just a governmental political decision here or there. And every American should know this, and they should know that their country, their government is part of committing all these genocide. Yalla, thank you. Anyone has
Viva
any
Cuba!
question for?
Viva Cuba!
No, hold on. Any question for Murid before he goes? Any question? Okay, خلاص.
Can
We'll
I
see you
ask,
till
can I
next
ask
week.
something briefly, please?
And Viva
May,
Cuba!
may I ask? I'd like to ask
Habib,
about how medical education is being affected by this, because this is something that we're looking to try and support here in the UK. There isn't as much of an anti-Cuba prejudice in the UK as there is in the US. How is medical education being affected by the US sanction?
تعليم الطب كيف تأثر؟
تعليم الطب بتأثر يعني بشكل أساسي خروج كتير دكاترة من النظام التعليمي بسبب إنه محتاجين يشتغلوا محتاجين إنهم يشتغلوا شغل تاني، لأنه بطل كطبيب يعني أو حتى هجرة يطلعوا برا كوبا عشان يشتغلوا خارج كوبا، لأنه الحياة صارت كتير صعبة عليهم يعني. لأنه كطبيب عنده عيلة وبده يطعم عيلته. قبل الحياة كانت جيدة، الراتب اللي كان ياخده كان مناسب له، مناسب للعيش الموجودة هون. بس بعديها صار في غلاء معيشة كتير، فكتير أطباء تركوا النظام التعليمي. فهذا أثر كتير على النظام التعليمي، لأنه هون في كوبا في كتير عقول قوية جدا في الطب، يعني كتبوا كتب واخترعوا شغلات في الطب. وتعلمنا، انا من حسن حظي اني تعلمت على ايديهم، لانه تخرجت كثير يعني قبل فتره، فتعلمت على ايديهم. بس حاليا التعليم تاثر كثير بسبب اللي بيصير في كوبا يعني.
So in addition to what we mentioned about like the shortage and supplies and all of that, like one of the direct and significant negative impacts of this illegal embargo and sanctions is the departure of a lot of great talent. And that's because simply it doesn't cover their expenses to continue practicing medicine and academic medicine. So a lot of these doctors have left teaching to do something else so that they can support their families and make money, or they have left the country altogether in order to earn money. He's saying that he's lucky because he's been here for 9 years and he has been taught by amazing individuals and amazing thinkers in medicine. They've written books and they have come up with like some innovative breakthroughs. And unfortunately, because it's just, if they can't afford to do this anymore, a lot of these brains and a lot of these like thinkers have had to leave medicine altogether.
Yeah. Okay, Murid, go eat, man. Go eat. Thank you for joining us. Inshallah, we'll have you next week too.
Viva Cuba!
Viva Cuba and free
Inshallah,
Palestine!
Viva Cuba.
Viva Cuba, yes. Thank you.
السلام.
Okay, guys. I think we had everyone now. I'm glad they were able. They managed to come and join us. I think we heard reflections from all of you. If anyone has any final comments before we close the webinar, and again a reminder, we need 1,000, 10,000, 1 million doctors, healthcare workers coming to DC April 15th. This is the least you can do. No excuse. If you are a doctor, if you are a nurse, if you are a paramedic, if you are a pharmacist, if you are a dentist, you have no excuse to come to DC for a day. Doctors in Cuba are working for $20 a month. That if they find a work. At least we know that the doctors, nurses here at least are getting well paid. And we know that every single one of them can afford to come. Especially if you are local there. This is maybe the most important moment in history, in your career, in your life, is to stand up and speak. Speak for your institution, speak for the healthcare in this country, speak against the fascism in this country, speak against the crimes that this country is committing against everyone. The United States is not the leader of the free world. The United States is what is making the world miserable. And it's all done on behalf of the Zionist Epstein ruling class criminals. This is a moment in history that it will not be forgiven for anyone, and history will hunt you. Your kids will hunt you. Your grandkids will hunt you. America itself will hunt you if you don't stand up now and force your country to do the right thing. What we are facing now and what we are at risk of going through is something that can shatter the world as we know and humanity. It is not an activist call anymore. This is a call against an existential threat to everyone, to our humanity, including here in the United States. You can make it, no excuse. And we will make sure that this trip, this visit goes as smooth as possible. There is no risk. No one is going to get in danger. All what we are doing is we as humans of good conscience, we as Americans, we as healthcare workers who swore an oath to say the truth, to protect life, to speak on behalf of threatened communities, we need to exercise our oath. We need to exercise our moral obligation by going there, showing numbers, and speaking truth to power. If you are not comfortable speaking, that's fine. You don't need to speak. If you are not comfortable being on front pages, that's fine. Just be there. We need the numbers. Those of us who are comfortable, those of us who have been there many times, can take their role, can take that role. We just want you to be there. We don't want history to say that at the time when the United States is being involved in committing maybe half a dozen genocides in this world at this moment, that only 20 doctors or nurses or healthcare workers showed to speak up against that. This is disgrace to America. This is a disgrace to humanity. This is a disgrace to the healthcare, community and to medicine itself. It is your obligation toward your kids, toward your patients, toward your community to do something. Speak up. At least join us. There is nothing dangerous about this. There is nothing super heroic. It's just doing the minimum and the basic obligation on all of us. Please join us. It will make a difference. At least it is doing something rather than staying silent, and being silent and not doing anything is giving the whole world the impression that we are consenting to this. So if you agree that you are consenting to everything that this administration, this country is doing to its own people and all over the world, then stay where you are. But if you refuse this, please show it. Show it in action, not just in words. And all what we're asking is just come, be with us. We are all in this together. We care about each other. We protect each other. We just want to do the minimum that we hope can change things. And please, again, continue to support our work, continue to support the communities that need our support. You can speak up more, you can talk to your colleagues. If you are not in the healthcare, you are still welcome to join. It's not just for doctors, it's for everyone, for doctors, for their patients, we want our patients to join us. We want our colleagues to join us. We want everyone, our families, if that's possible. Please, let's make a stand. Things are getting worse by the day. And I don't know if we will be in World War III before October 15. But this is what is at stake. It's getting really, really dangerous, and we have a psychopath that has his hands on nuclear buttons. Please do something now. If you don't, then you should feel ashamed all your life, and you forgave your right to ever condemn anyone or ever put the fault on anyone else. It is we, the people, that can do it together. None of us alone can do it. We need your voice. We need your presence, please. Anything, anyone want to share anything, please? Habib, can you do the same thing, Dr. Habib and Sui in UK? Something similar? Month of April. Maybe you can do it at the end of April to give yourself more time.
I've already emailed quite a few people, say that to make it to coincide with what we call our budget day. We don't have a tax day, you see, but we have a budget day. So I've been sending it around. So let's see what feedback comes up. So probably can't do it on the 15th of April. Not enough time. But we'll see. Maybe on the next budget day, we should copy what you do, and then you share your experience with us, and we'll try and learn from your experience. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So we pray. We'll end this. Habib, do you want to say anything?
No, just thank you for your words of encouragement. Thank you for everyone's words of encouragement, especially Ilyas Abu Sofia. It was really wonderful to see him speak and to just see such strength. It's really inspiring.
So we pray for the people of Cuba. We pray for the people of Lebanon, people of Iran, people of Palestine. We pray for all the victims of genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity all over the world that are being committed by the United States on behalf of the supremacist criminal regime of Israel. But if you believe in God, if you believe in any faith, God said words alone are not enough. You have to act. We pray, but we have to act. If you do not act your religion, you are an atheist. You don't believe in anything. We need to pray, we need to wish them well, but we also need to do everything we can under our power. Everyone has their comfort level. No one is asking you to do miracles, but at least the simple things that you're comfortable with. And every one of us can do something. Can be big, can be small, but it is something. When more and more people are doing it, it becomes huge. So let's pray for all of them and let's act. Let's all unite, please. Keep coming back with more energy, with more ideas, with more connections, with more people mobilized. We owe this to ourselves, we owe this to our conscience, we owe this to our planet, to our world, to our kids, to our grandkids, to the future. We cannot leave the world at the mercy of Trump, Musk, Epstein's, Netanyahu's, Ben-Gvir's. That is a dangerous and disgusting world that we don't want to even be part of it. Please, everyone, do more, and thank you. Thank you for your constant, continued support. Thank you for your integrity, your bravery, and for joining us every time. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Salam.